Hello, hello, and welcome. Second restream for the league on this side. Uh, Thank you for the raid, Timmy. We are kicking things off tonight with a Division 5A match. The first, I think, Division 5A match altogether. Definitely the first for the two runners here between Soda and Sly. And I'm gonna hand things over to our two commentators for this. I just realised that they've only just gone live, so there might be some ads, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. I'll hand you over to the two commentators here with Deca and Tiris. So,
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So, OOTR League. I don't know how much I will actually expect from this because, despite signing up and playing two of the test seasons for this, I've not played too much practice for the new season. So, I'm expecting something like reasonably fast, but also it could be a bit messy, probably.
That's the fun part of settings like this. You have the potential to get a fast seed, but knowing how Zooter is, there's a high chance it might not be.
Oh, absolutely. So, to answer the question about how this compares to standard season 4, it's somewhere, the settings are somewhere in between what you would expect from season 4 and some previous seasons. So you have the random the random spawns from season 4. You don't have the closed Deku and things like that. You have open Gano Castle at 4 medallions, so you still see that come into it in the later stages of the game. And you also have a kind of a season 3 hint distribution, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say closest to season 3.
And I would say one of the probably less stated points of the league settings is the tricks. Most of them aren't in logic anymore. You have like some basic things. You have the forest temple vines with a hook shot. You have tunic requirements, and you have using the lens in place of like Shadow Temple and the well. But you don't have things like even something as simple as the man on roof in Kakariko with a hook. You need the hook shot logically for it. I've seen that come up a couple of times in earlier tests of this, and it doesn't always matter too much, but it can be interesting for the logic, I'd say.
Yeah, especially when the hints play into such logic. It really makes you think sometimes about, okay, is this Woth? What could it be Woth for?
And I believe ZL, I can't remember. I think ZL it can still be Way of the Hero in these settings, whereas in season 4 it couldn't, which doesn't make a huge difference, but can occasionally just mean your Way of the Hero is a little more awkward.
Yeah, I think for the league hints, ZL would not be Woth, I'm pretty sure. I think they kept that.
Good thing. Yeah, I mean, either way, I don't think it affects too much usually.
It gives you slightly better Woths because you don't need to worry about it pointing to an item that you're inevitably going to have to get anyway, as opposed to an actual useful, progression item or something.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. This is separate from ZSR technically. The OOTR League is run through the OOTR Discord, is connected to ZSR and affiliated, but all of the restreams are, I'd say, independent. They're all run separately, organized separately. So yeah, you won't find schedules for these on ZSR, unfortunately, at present. Looks like we're just waiting for the runners to ready up now, I think.
Soon we will be getting this on the way.
yeah, I can quickly come in and fill in some gaps here.
Yep.
Yeah, we managed to fix the settings earlier, so there was a thing where Nocturne was showing up as an always hint. That's gone. ZL won't be Way of the Hero. And also, yeah, the runners are pretty much ready. Both have basically said, okay, give me a minute and then we're good to go. So we'll be kicking this
There you
off
go.
soon.
Official word from the organizer there. Clarifying everything. Perfect.
Yes, thank you very much.
So they're starting with ZL and starting Child. Well, I was gonna say I'm curious to know what you think about that. But personally, I don't think that really tells that much about this seed.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much to really go off of right by that, but I mean, having Zeal to start is pretty good, especially if you find, explosives and you can deal with fairy fountains as opposed to having to leave them behind because, Zeal's in some awful place.
Yeah, I think early ZL primarily just suits for thoroughness.
Alright, we
So we've
starting
got-
in the Lost Woods today.
So I think this spawns quite nice. It's not ideal with not being able to check the the Sari is checked straight away because of the gate not having sticks. But I think Kakiri spawn as a child is pretty ideal, honestly, in a lot of settings.
We got a hookshot in Mitos too.
Ooh.
Definitely a good place to start. Little love. Yes, and the hint above, I believe it was Zora's Domain is our first foolish. Yeah,
Oh.
starting in Kokiri is pretty standard. So I imagine this intro is going to be pretty similar to what we've seen in past tournaments.
Yeah, I'd expect so.
I think it'll be interesting to see if any of them split off. Maybe one of them goes Deku while the other does 3-song.
Potentially, yeah, I think I would expect both to probably farm rupees for Deku, but I could also, I know a lot of runners don't necessarily like to sit and farm the rupees in Kakiri Forest. And
Yeah,
might just...
especially when you could find them, find money along the way too.
Right, yeah.
And with a save warp right there, it's so easy to get back.
It's also, I think, worth noting with Open Deku is you have the accessibility of setting the time of day with it again as well. And I don't know how much people actually care about that. But I know sometimes when I'm, personally, when I'm doing my opening child segment, I'll like to maybe do Deku slightly later than planned, just to make sure that I don't have to worry about time of day later on.
Yeah, that's definitely something valid to keep in mind when you're doing the routing. It does look like they're both grinding up for the shields and sticks though. So we'll see the Deku play here from both of them. Oh, maybe not actually. Emo might go get the song first.
I can see some merit to doing this with... Did Soda... Oh, Soda used all of the money.
Yep.
I suppose you can get some more in the maze here on the way to the song though, so there is some merit to this for checking the Deku scrub as well in Lost Woods.
Oh yes, also very good. Good idea on that. Right, gonna see Deku from Sly here.
Like to see the song. Prelude.
Oh, the seed's playable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've already solved the random spawn problem.
I missed what that hint was. It was something Icy Waters.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything relevant.
Kokiri Forest Wave the hero. I wonder what it could possibly be for. And water is foolish. Also,
So-
Sly showing off some sick strats to farm some sticks.
I don't think I've seen this in a long time, but definitely viable if you can pull it off.
Shooting the sun leads to Din's fire. What a hint. OOT Requiem, 30's dead, and DC is on the way of the hero. Or, yeah, way the hero.
So, aside from the shoot the suns being Din's fire, I'd say some fairly standard kind of hints so far. DC's
Yeah.
required, who would have thought?
Who
Your
would have
30
thought?
doesn't have anything. Your water temple is barren, who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
The forest that had a hook shot happens to be required.
Lon Lon Ranch is way the hero, most likely for the song.
Yeah, it's really hard to see where this seed's gonna go this early.
I want to see what we find in Deku Tree. And there's the other Kokiri Forest Swath.
Yo. So you'd have to expect at least one item usually from Dekuchi, right?
In most cases, yeah. When it's open and you have all these Sphere Zero checks in here, the more than likely it's gonna have something. When it doesn't, it feels very bad.
Big question is what would possibly be in here for SlyRyD that would...
Well, magic
Oh,
is in
magic. There you go. Talk too soon. I was gonna say, what do you think might appear that could benefit rushing it as opposed to going to do Lana Ranch first?
A
only
bomb bag.
Yeah,
Finding a
I'm
bomb
only really
bag would-
thinking bombs.
Definitely change that. Or maybe something, maybe a bow, so then going adult sooner.
Yeah, I could see that. Coupled with the hook shot, that could be quite a good sign to kind of push that out quickly. Although I think the long run way the hero kind of messes with that, and you probably still do that anyway before you go adult, but...
Yeah, most likely. Oh, and a strength. We got magic and strength. So now we can go dip our way the hero DC.
Probably find the first spawn bag, full clear it, the usual.
And then vanilla Eponas and way the hero Lamon.
Ooh.
With Requiem on OOT, no less.
That's... Well, that could be for a number of things. That could just be for your access to the desert. It could be for GTG. It could be for the opponent's checks.
It could be for Big Pose.
It could be for big pose. But we're not going to know for what I would expect is at least an hour or so.
I think that was a slingshot back there.
Yeah, did look like it. Way the hero to complete Dekuchi?
Perhaps.
I could see that. That
Gotta
would be a
love
very
Dekuchi logic.
awful seed. Yeah.
That's gonna be nice to have, though, going through the woods again and being able to get target.
It's gonna make, yeah, it's gonna make pathing to, they're just gonna go straight to Deku, I guess, which, you know, works as well, because you can do the woods on the way back through, but...
True.
Might
Also,
also-
might want to spend the money first.
That's true. Might also opt to completely skip the woods for now. Not being able to completely full clear it as well as having the spawn there means it's certainly accessible later on in the seed as a child.
Yeah. Yeah, routing that in later is not going to be that hard of a task.
Oh, I have to see for now. Going straight into Deku.
Yep, we'll be following Sly a bit. So far, all we've seen, magic and strength. It's pretty good haul from Deku so far.
Yeah, I think you're pretty happy with anything you get from Deku Tree at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially that strength. The magic isn't super useful at the moment, but that strength we'll definitely be able to utilize.
For sure. Especially with the DC way the hero. Just being able to touch that as soon as you can is pretty ideal.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Just seeing the Deku Tree hints again, but from Emo's side.
Yep, Emo entering Deku as Sly enters Goma.
That seems pretty reasonable on a time basis, I'd say.
Yeah, well, only a little bit of routing difference.
It's probably safe to assume that SlyRyD is probably gonna do the bits that Soda did while he was in Deku Tree anyway, afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, most likely we'll see him go back, get Sarias, and do the rest of 3 Song. Which I guess is just rant.
Yeah, it feels a bit strange calling it 3 Song still, but I also don't think 2 Song fits.
It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well too.
Yeah. But it's not 3 Song anymore.
It's not 3 Song.
2 and a bit song. 2 and... Yeah, it's just child stuff.
Emo picking up the strength. Getting bitty bucks from Goma. Let's see what our reward is.
Ruby.
Go on, Ruby.
Already thinking about how this could just be completely awful, but probably isn't going to be. Just way
I
the
mean,
heroes.
with Requiem on OOT, it can already be pretty awful.
Yep, just opponent's bait, slingshot way the hero for Requiem OOT.
Yeah, that's a little monka.
Probably won't be, but that's fine. That's the possibility's there, and that's okay for me, I think. But 50 rupees is...
It's okay for us and the viewers.
Yeah, 100%. 50 rupees is good to get out, coming out of the Deku Tree as well though. Means you can do the Lost Woods checks if you really want to, without much trouble.
Sly heading to go pick up Eponas.
Going to pick up Prelude.
Oh, sorry, Prelude, yes.
I just had a moment thinking about...
Vanilla.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just thinking ahead.
You're just like 3 steps ahead, it's fine.
It's fine.
We'll be able to utilize that later when you tell us they found like a mirror shield before we've seen it.
Yeah, so I'll use my telepathy to predict what we'll see. Emo trying to get the skull there on the way down with the slingshot.
Valiant attempt.
It was.
Not gonna lie, I've can't say I've ever considered doing that when I've had the slingshot.
Same.
Yeah, this is the prime opportunity for me to just not have to think about the routing at all, as they just retread each other. For sure.
So I guess the question is, what does Emo do after this? Because they've already gone through 3 Song and they've cleared Deku. Is this the part where you go adult, or do you still do a little bit of child cleanup?
So I'd say there's a couple of options for sure. You did just like name both of the primary ones. I'd say I think going adult's probably the more optimal play at this point, but I can totally see at the very least doing some lost woods checks before you go adult.
I
You
think
have
with the
prelude,
slingshot,
so-
you check. You should probably check target before you go. I think, especially when Goma turns out to not have anything good.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Just to be safe, for sure. You also have like the memory game if you want to do the time investment, as well as the scrub with the hint. But I think you don't want to spend too much time dwelling as a child here. You have strength, you have the way the hero DC. So I think you kind of just want to push that early and see what comes out of it.
Yeah, I know I would be thinking about that strength in the DC WAF.
Plus, I think, yeah, I think there's not too much like there's not too much density to go around child right now. You can only do like a couple of checks here and there, I'd say, and they're all quite far apart. So I think the option's really to just go adult after you do a couple of lost woods checks here.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I wonder about leaving behind Lake and mostly Scarecrow. I think Scarecrow is pretty good to set up, but if you're not routing in Valley Lake right after Ranch, I'm not sure that you're going to.
Yeah, I think this could be an okay time as well to route in Valley Lake, but only if you had bombs. I think if you had bombs, you could use the ability to check your South Hyrule checks alongside the Valley and Lake. You pick up 2 to 4 hints, depending on if you want to do back to the lake. Plus the extra ones in South Hyrule, you're talking 6 hints there. You set up Scarecrow, it's pretty efficient, pretty nice.
Ooh, we have claim check on target.
That's interesting, because that's no longer an always hint in the settings, because it's start and ends at claim check, so you can't have previous parts of the trade sequence. So yeah, that could be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I know I definitely would want to follow that.
Gonna be interesting to see if they both end up getting it, to see if either of them remembers to go do it just while you're in the area. Especially if you get it early, I think it's definitely worth making sure you get it out of the way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's also good to get it before even going adult, because you're gonna be clearing out, Goron City and Crater.
Yep.
So while you're going through the whole circle, then there you go, just hand it in.
Yeah, 100%. If they get bombs anytime soon, they could. Prelude is the Song of Time, the prelude check on the Forest Medallion, which
Is Song of Time. Okay.
That's a hint.
Yeah, that's a hint.
Yeah, if they get bombs, at least early doors in adult, so Kakariko, things like that, then they can do almost all of the Goron loop without much trouble, including Biggoron, so having all of that squared away is really nice. And yep, so does going adult after doing those couple of checks in Lost Woods.
Yeah, sounds about right. We're gonna get that med check now. We'll see what leads to our Song of Time. Fire Temple. Forest, DC, Shadow, Spirit. That's a lot of vanilla medallions.
Yup.
Well, almost vanilla.
Oh. Baron Medallion Water strikes again.
Classic.
Yeah, DC being a medallion as well. I think
Yeah, you're definitely going there.
yeah, you're 100% going there as soon as you can. And the last stone is starting. That's what it is. I was just looking and trying to figure out what the third one was. Looking at the track as a question mark, and I was like, wait, they already
It's
have
a
it.
mystery. It's a mystery. We don't know how to get the Zora Sapphire. That's the secret. You have to find it.
You have to execute Ace and just put it in your inventory.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, simple. So I imagine we'll probably see something out of Kak here. See if we get something out of the Man and Roof. Possibly the most interesting thing we could get right now.
That very hookshot locked thing that we had a Sphere Zero hookshot.
Yep.
Only $50.
Damn the dice. Yeah. Don't think there's too much to expect right now. I think Soda's just gonna do Kakariko into graveyards, or just go straight to DC. That's
That's a bit of
interesting.
aggressive play. I mean,
I
at
like
the
it.
same time, if you're rushing DC, there's a chance that you could just be able to find bombs and beat it, and then you'll be in front of Kak anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the plan here, at least. If you get some form of explosives, you already have the strength. So even if you only get a 5-pack of juice, you can quickly open it.
Yeah, and you can just beat the dungeon.
Yep. And then, yeah, you just end up straight back in front of Kak and just continue doing the checks there.
I want to see how this plays out.
It looks like Sly is looking to do Valley Lake based on walking out of the back of London.
Yeah, so yeah, we're getting Divergence. We got emosoda doing our adult in DC, and then Sly is doing a bit more of cleanup, or is just walking
back to Castle. That might be quicker than. Oh, they have Prelude though.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Oh wait, that's heading to Kak. Oh, he's dropping off. Yeah, he's dropping off the Keaton mask.
Okay. Fair enough. I can see that. If you're like playing safe.
Yeah, I think this is good because then he'll be able to drop that off. He'll most likely save warp and follow the target wave the hero. So he'll get Skull Mask and he'll get that claim check.
Looks like he's opting for time of day for damp aging as well instead of chickens, which I approve. It's a quicker check.
You can also get skulls this way, but not having Sun Song, you won't be able to get Skull Mask.
I would say that, yeah, that's probably the weakness to this here. I think.
But we are also going to be able to do Dampe Digging and check the song at Sun's Grave.
Which, if it is Sun Song, then it'll work out fine. But I think you are on the right track with this play of if you do this now and play into this the Skull Mask. I think that idea is probably the best way to go about handing in the mask at this point. To just kind of rush it and like knock off as much of the woods as you can.
Do you think Emo will ever equip that shields? Probably once they get to Forest Temple. I imagine it'll be equipped. But we could just swag on DC right now and not use it.
Yeah, for sure. So we do actually have another check coming up that's not in Logic right now because of the settings, and that's the bomb bag chest in this room. Because logically you need without the trick in logic, you need hover boots or a slingshot or a bow to get to the bomb bag chest.
Interesting.
Because the glitchless jumps aren't in logic by default. We're seeing nice
Light arrows in the
Ooh.
graveyard. That was Shield Grave.
Yep. Don't think
Emo
we'll
getting
see
the
those
jump.
being as clean. We've not seen anything yet from DC, which is unfortunate for Emo.
Yeah, not
the end of the
I
world.
mean, yeah, it's when you have WAF DC and you get a strength that early, you're gonna go in and dip it.
Yeah, for sure.
I see nothing wrong with that play. Plus, at the
Opting
end
to
of the
go
day,
good trail.
yep, you also have the switch activated, so when you do find bombs or choose, you can just go back.
So, would you say that this is Soda like doubling down on the skipping CAC and like most of CAC and graveyard play? Because if you get
Honestly,
explosives
yeah,
up here, you finish at the bottom, do DC, and then again just end out straight in front of CAC.
I mean, it's definitely something that you can think about and be like, oh, you know what, this could work out, and then, you know, see it play out, and it's amazing. The amazing God route feel. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, I would go in. Oh, never mind, there's your bomb
There we
bag.
go.
Now you can just go
Paid
back
off.
in.
Paid off, we did it. Nocturne in the Sun Grave, that's definitely good with the ZL start, but that can be, I know that's probably one of my peeves with OOTR, if that particular spot, if you don't have an early ZL, just not having that free access to Kakariko and knowing you have to go back there to be able to get the free access to Kakariko is kind of annoying, but
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
ZL start at least means that they're not going to have issues with that.
I believe that was a 50 skulls as a bottle, a Poe bottle.
I don't think we're ever seeing that.
Yeah, probably not. Ooh, and Gerudo's Fortress is off. And a bow.
Oh.
Alright. Emo doesn't appear to be too happy.
That's... I can understand why, though. You've pushed up the mountain to do the loop and try and get explosives so you can clear DC and end up in CAC. But now you have the tools to do Forest Temple. But to get to Forest Temple easily, you want to be in the mountain. So it's like, do you continue your plan, or do you go and do Forest first and then come back?
That is the question. And I'm sure that's what emosoda's thinking about right now. I think while you're here, I think it's probably better to do DC, especially since you already just did half of it. You may as well just finish it. At that point, I would probably still do CAC before I go to Forest Temple. I don't think I would leave CAC behind.
Yeah, for sure. I think at this point, I think you do the loop, go DC into CAC into Graveyard, and then you backwalk through the field to the forest, and you're just really sad about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably your best bet. Either that, or after clearing out the CAC and Graveyard, you see where your adult save warp is, and then maybe your crying might be a little less or a little more, depending on where you end up.
So they just got Storms in Bolero.
Yes.
Nice song. Very strong. Sly's continuing this thoroughness at the moment on child side to the point of doing lens game, which with early magic I can respect.
Yeah, early magic, you have the lens, may as well. That way you're not worrying about it 3 hours into the seed like, wait, I haven't done chess game, that's been in logic since 10 minutes into the seed. And then have it be your hover boots.
Yeah. Well, we've had enough PTSD in the multi-world recently with Lens game, but it's another story entirely.
Yeah.
If you can get out of the way early as child, within reason, it's pretty. I think it's
Pretty
pretty good to
decent.
do. Yeah. Valleyway the hero.
So Valley and Fortress are Wath. So I'm just getting a purple rupee for
10
his
rupees.
troubles.
That stonks right there.
It stonks.
10 rupees in a bit of time suddenly turns into 50.
Yeah, but how much of that 50 went into the wallet?
True. Okay, so 10 rupees in a bit of time turned into 10 rupees, but the the theory was there. So yeah, as Shawnee's pointed out, we have all 5 Way of the Heroes. They're all fairly early as well. We already have opponents and a bow. They're all in logic, aside from Valley Hammer Rocks. So it's just how quick we see them, I guess.
So then, with that in mind, do you still go to Forest after you do CAC, or do you push Fortress and Valley?
I could see.
Nice
I could see
choose.
either. Forest is quite difficult to get to without the warp songs, so I can understand going there while you're still in the area. But you could also get Minuet or Bolero while you're over in the desert, and that just basically negates the problem because warping to either of those means you can get to Forest fairly quickly. So
Yeah,
I
that's
guess it's
something
just
to
how
keep in
much you
mind
want to
too.
risk.
We will be getting a song from Windmill after presumably Emo clears out DC. So
Unless
if that ends
Sly
up
gets that
being
first.
Minuet too. Yes. It's a race to the Windmill check.
Yeah, the windmill's a good point, to be honest. I for a second completely forgot we've just not seen it yet. So yeah, if that's got Minuet or Bolero, I think pushing Valley and Fortress is totally reasonable.
If only we had FW. That would be like the perfect play. Just leave FW and GTG. Get your Wath and leave.
He's saying like the ultimate upgrade to these settings is to just start with Feroz Wind as well as Lens, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't disagree. Having started with it in other settings, it's Feroz Wind's pretty nice to have on hand.
Yeah, we're getting spoiled with the multi-world settings. It is very nice to have forwards at the start. FW Wath, let's go. I would love to see that.
I don't think we're gonna see Feroz Wind anytime soon though. It's like it's settings where you don't start with it, so because the magic was early, Feroz Wind's gonna be late. It's just how it works out, right?
I was almost Monka S for emosoda there.
Yeah, this
Also, I
check
look
has,
over and suddenly Sly is at
Ooh.
River.
Yep,
I'm guessing
yeah.
our save warp was here.
Oh, magic.
Another magic meter. So that's not
Way
gonna
the
be our...
hero.
Yeah, that will not be our Wath.
Sly just walked to river. There's the scale.
Scale.
That's
River. Classic.
I think that's definitely the best placement for a scale in the game for sure.
Yeah, best. That's definitely the word that I would use.
I mean, when it's okay, Skullmask is dead. That's a little rough when you've committed already like half the time to Skullmask, but I guess
mean, that's not too bad. He got to route in this Nightcack Skulls, so at the end of the day, that helps a little bit.
yeah, like it wasn't the only thing he did, so it's not too bad. But if that was at least, I know I feel probably a little sad about it at that point. But the scale's quite good here. giving the option to dive through to forest. There's the long shot. There you go. There's the way the hero.
That's an interesting Loth. With Water Foolish. Oh wait, no, wait. What's on
Medallion.
Shoot the Sun? What's on Shoot the Sun though?
Dins, true. True. I mean, with water being a medallion, it's required anyway. But,
True.
So it could have easily just been don't look into it, but that does give Dins in logic now for a medallion shadow. So you can open shadow and do the first 2 checks if you want to commit the time. I don't think it's a good idea, but you could.
Yeah, not something I would rush, but definitely something that I would keep in mind.
We're going to see the minuet check here. We've still not seen most of Kakariko, which I think is pretty interesting as far as seeds go.
Yeah, not seeing either runner clear out Kak yet is pretty interesting.
Bolero and Minuet. So there's your song to get back here without too much trouble. This, I'm not gonna lie, this route that Sly has taken after hitting adult has been pretty nice, even if it might have been by coincidence of what's been found where.
Yeah, everything is kind of... Yeah, it's working very well with just smooth routing.
Yeah, this definitely could have looked funkier, to say the least.
Yeah, not having the scale there would have changed this entirely, but that scale just clutched Sly out with this.
Was that Goron Hammer Rocks? I saw Goron City and Dead, but I didn't see if it was
I also
Hammer
saw
Rocks
Goron
or
City.
I believe it was the Hammer Rocks. Oh, it was Dead. That's the important bit.
We got a condom. Nehru's Love right on top. Sun Song in the windmill.
Okay. I just realized I had some tea left over and drank it and it was cold. That was a mistake.
Snatch.
Unrelated. Yeah. We're not seeing too much here from Kakariko aside from Sun Song, but that's pretty minimal in itself.
Yeah, so far no real loss from putting off Kak.
I think if we get to talk to either runner after this, asking about Kakariko could be certainly interesting, because I'm pretty curious. Like, even I can see why both runners ended up doing it based on like how it's transpired, but or at least assume how they've done it. But even then, like, at least in my head, I think it's almost just an autopilot to just do all of Kakariko into Graveyard without thinking about other options after hitting adult.
Yeah, I definitely, like, I feel that. I kinda understand Sly's routing a little bit more, because he got Nocturne, so no matter what he does with, you know, save warp as an adult, then you can just go to Kak whenever, which just ended up working really well with his route. Whereas Emo, I would be much more curious to ask about, because that was a deliberate, I am not doing Kak right now. I'm gonna get my shield, and I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess with Sly's route, I guess the intention was probably run up the river and then either save warp or just play Nocturne and go straight to Kak and do what's being done now. But then it just kind of snowballed slightly into extra bits. It just added that little bit on top that made it that bit nicer, I'd say.
Yeah, it just worked out. It worked out. That scale was much in the favor.
Just seeing both runners tread each other's ground for a few minutes, and I imagine Sly's probably either going to go into DC with the strength and choose, or go up to Grand City and find the bomb bag and then go into DC. So I guess eyes are on Soda at this point to see where they're going to go next.
What I think. Okay, so we have Forest and we have our Wath, Valley, and Fortress. Those are our two big hotspots.
Yep.
On the one hand, I mean Sly has Bolero, so that makes it kind of easier to get to, you know, Minuet and all that. Emo does not have that yet. Do you think at that point you're thinking more about Fortress then? Or are you still thinking I should push progression?
I could see that. I think not having any quick song to get to your Minuet check and Forest Temple makes it a little less appealing when you know you have to go to Lake to get Inspire, you know you have to go to Valley and Fortress for the Way of the Heroes. But personally, as a player, I'm very much I'm gonna just rush progression kind of guy. So I'd still probably end up going to Forest just because I think the more you put it off without getting either Minuet or Bolero, the harder it gets to get back there.
Yeah,
and we already know Bolero's there. So unless Minuet's over at the desert, then it could be really awkward to get back to the forest.
Yeah, I think if I were in their shoes, that's what I would be kind of deliberating on. I'd be weighing out if it'd be worth trying to go to the desert area, hoping for, in Emo's case, either Minuet or Bolero.
Yeah, I think
going to two different Wath locations is pretty strong. And again, knowing that your Dins is there, like you said, that you need to go pick up anyway, I think I would probably go there, try and get the song, hope that it's Minuet, and then if it's not, then just gonna have to hoof it like I would have regardless.
So the other thing I would throw in there though, before I go into the another approach to it, is that you're not gonna get any. Well, you could get a couple of items that slightly speed it up, but you're probably not getting any items that speed up your Forest Temple.
Yeah, your Forest Temple, you have your items. Forest Temple's usually the same every time you're there.
Yeah. There's like hover boots can change what you do and make it slightly faster. Things like fire arrows can make it very slightly faster. But at the end of the day, it's Forest Temple. It will take a while. Not much you can do will change that.
Another thing worth considering too is you know you have your whole desert area that you need to go touch on. If you do all of that first, you now have all of Forest Temple to think about what your next plan is.
That's also true. And then another counterpoint to that is you don't have your hammer yet for Valley, which is Way the Hero. If you found the hammer while you were doing Forest Temple, as slim as that might be, then you can do that. If you do all that afterwards, you're doing that bit more efficiently. Whereas if you go Valley, Fortress, and then go to Forest and find your hammer, that could be a bit tricky. But I suppose that goes with most locations in the game. You can argue that if you go somewhere that's not full clearable and you don't have all the items, you find it elsewhere. So it's kind of a bit of a moot point, but
there's also always a chance that your Gerudo Fortress Way the Hero needs the hammer to get your Gerudo Valley Wath.
It looks like he's going to Forest Temple. From what I can, it looks like Forest.
This looks like, that's a Forest play, I think.
That's understandable.
And it looks like Sly's gonna be going through the loop before hitting DC.
It's not too much of the loop though. He has already done at least some of DMC and the top of Trail. So it's mostly going to be the city.
Right. That is right.
Can't remember if he did the grotto at the top of Crater, but whether he did or not, you can quickly. If he didn't, you can quickly dip in and do it. If he did, then you just turn around and just drop down in front of DC, I think. But yeah, gonna find those bombs.
Maybe.
Or
Maybe we are.
maybe afterwards. Maybe we'll get the bombs after doing DC, which is fine. That's fine.
It's also completely valid. The psycho.
It is I'd say it's unfortunate. Like unless you use a lot of chews, which with 6 you're probably not going to. Using primarily strength in here without a bow to at least shoot the bomb flowers is like a bit noticeably slower than other ways of doing DC. But especially knowing the bomb bag and the bow are both in Goron City, but Emo did the same thing, clearing most of DC with just strength, so it's not actually going to cost time in the long run.
Yeah, I was about to say,
slow.
with Emo having to double dip DC with getting the bomb bag after, whereas Sly will be able to full clear it with the chews, it kind of balances out.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess the question now is probably not. I don't think it's too much of a actual difficult question, but I'd say when do you think we'll see the Valley and Fortress Way the heroes and all that? At least from either side, because obviously I think from Soda's side, unless something drastically changes in Forest, it's gonna be after Forest.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Unless we get some really good item in Forest, then it will likely be after that. Sly, we get to think about if it's gonna be before or after Forest. Because while you're gonna clear DC, you'll be put in front of CAC. Do you just turn around, go through the shortcut, get to Lost Woods and all that, or just hop on your horse outside of CAC?
I think Sly's quickest way there is probably using Bolero to if he plans to go for his temple.
Yeah, I realize Bolero would probably be a little faster.
But he could always, he could just hop on his horse and go do the rest of the required things.
Yeah, while already having Bolero, that also just helps in that you could just warp straight thereafter. Well, not straight there, but almost straight thereafter.
So this might be maybe a bit of a long shot, but going by what you said, you've played some multi-worlds with Sly before. You have at least some experience playing and talking with him while playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you could comfortably say which you think he's gonna go for?
Probably not. Probably not. It's hard because even like Emo, I talk to in multi-world with more often, and
Right.
here I am surprised by the aggressive DC play.
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna ask for Emo's case, but then they got on the horse and went to Kikiri before I even got the words out, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, because this setting is also a lot different. This is a 1v1 in standard settings versus a multi-world where we're doing forced BK skip and despawning the light trial, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fair.
It's hard to say.
It's a tad bit different.
Just a tad.
I thought you were going to go down the line of what you're typically being a more thorough approach. I wasn't expecting the boss key skip, but that would change it slightly.
A lot of fun tricks and glitches that we do in multi-worlds. At least in the, for fun multi-modes.
Yeah. Yeah, I expected you probably didn't do them in the tournament, to be honest.
Yeah.
That would be generally frowned upon.
Just a tad.
A little bit
huge amount.
ban-worthy.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. I think in the long run, again on this forest versus valley play, I think going forest is probably favorable based on the sayings. Again, touching on it being largely season 3 style sayings and in hints, and then some of the more liked aspects of season 4. I think it's quite a fast-paced setting, I'd say, for the league. And generally speaking, the season 3 hints, I don't know how you felt about them at the time. I know personally, and I heard, to be fair, I heard lots of different stuff about them, but I know personally they felt quite a lot like you wanted to play this kind of aggressive, you do like your opening bits and then you rush into progression where you can, and then your way of the heroes when you can after that. And then you kind of think about like, okay, what else can I do? At which point Forest would take precedence over like your Valley and Fortress, just because it is that medallion. But
I'm processing, because when I first started racing more often, it was around the time of when season 3 started.
yeah.
So for that's pretty much my basis. What I started with the season 3 hints, so that was just kind of the norm for me. So going from that to season 4 hints instead, where suddenly there's much fewer hints that you're getting, they're much harder to get to those hints. You're not, all the grotto hints are off. It's just way more nerfed. And now we're going back to, this set of hints where it's more generous with the information that it's giving you. I can understand, going for progression and whatnot while you have it open, and then, now you have this information that you can fall back on and, go clear your watts after.
Yeah. It is worth noting as well, your way the heroes can be slightly more bait because of the tricks not being in logic. I don't think we'll see any of that in this seed by this point. We've seen most of the items for those tricky little bits, namely like your hook well, not your hook shot, but like your slingshots, sometimes your bow, just those niggly bits where you just are used to the trick being on and could get caught out by it if you're not careful. But I think this seed's fairly safe with regards to those.
Yeah, my question would be, at this point in the seed, would there be any of those bait items that could be hinted off? Like, what would there be that's left? Because the slingshot, I suppose, would be that biggest contender, and that's already taken care of.
I don't think there is anything left. Looking at the items, the only item I'd say really that's left that could be bait with the hero that they don't have is a bottle. But we know there's a bottle on 50 skulls. And they have hookshot, sunsong, bombs. They have, I guess, at a glance, I'd say they have enough items for 50 skulls. I'm not going to pretend that I know the counts for items.
Yeah, I don't think I could keep up with how many skulls are in logic at all times. But if we find a boomerang, that'll definitely, I think, put that.
I'm sure I've seen first hookshot be on 50 before, so I'm sure like the hookshot will put 50 in by itself. Or not by itself, but in, enough.
Also, Yoshi bringing up a good point. Do you think we're gonna see a KZ skip today?
Ooh, that's kind of hard to call. I would say it's probably less appealing knowing the song hints we already know. All that's really left for songs, Saria's Minuet Serenade for Ice Cavern. None of which is super appealing. We're not going to get an Ice Cavern Way the Hero either. We know Icy Waters is dead. I feel like Ice Cavern's going to get put off until it's at least at the point where you don't... Yeah, and at least until you don't have anything else left that's more dense. Yeah, Sly's not done the Goron Maze, just got the bomb bag. And yeah, gone.
Oh, okay, yeah, went back to
field.
DC. And is now here.
Looks like
Yeah, not getting that bow might be critical.
It looks like he's doing field. It's hard to say. I imagine it's field into valley. I don't think either of them have set Scarecrow as child, so they can't do.
Yeah, we haven't seen Lake at all yet.
So we won't see the Dims for a while, at least for sure. But yeah, not having that bow for the Fortress Way the Hero could be unfortunate. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah, I imagine Sly's hoping to find a bow in one of these grottos.
It does also make the follow-up around Fortress maybe worse, but at least simpler. I think not having the bow or strength 2 means you just don't really want to go into GTG, at which point you can just think about like continuing to cross. Whereas otherwise, you'd have that, do I want to just straight cross? Do I want to do GTG and then cross? Oh, Big Pose is dead.
So it's one less reason for opponents to be off.
Oh, Wallet. Wallet was the thing that we could have had for Bateway the Hero.
That is true. I forgot we didn't get a wallet yet.
Or Tunics, I guess. Sly just got one, but...
He got both. He got the wallet and he got the Zora tunic.
Yeah.
So all of the bait is in field today.
Yep. I guess we've, now we can say there's no bait left. We're done. This could... The following, I want to say 3-4 minutes could prove to be really bad for Sly, or perfectly fine. Entirely depending on where the Valley Way the Hero is, and where the Fortress Way the Hero is.
Exactly. It's nice too to have a long shot at this point too, so you can just get the crate as an adult.
Yeah, that's
not have to worry about coming back as a child.
That does raise the question though, actually. At least from your perspective, knowing you have the Valley Way the Hero and the Fortress, but knowing that you might want to cross the desert, get the song there, would you rush doing your Fortress and Valley, or would you cross first before doing Valley and come back?
I would do Valley and Fortress first before crossing.
Because I think the thing that would maybe make me change my mind is if I'd already been to Child Lake. Because if you've already been to Child Lake, then you can drop down at the valley, go into the lake as adult, and kind of chain them together. But
yeah, I mean, see that's the tricky thing about Valley if you're not clearing it as child early, like not doing Valley Lake, because then you sometimes end up in an awkward situation where you're here as adult, and now you're posing yourself that question. Should I just go straight through, or should I be going here and then going through Lake? because it doesn't. You don't really want to go through Lake when you haven't done it as child yet.
And we get
Also,
like the hover boots.
So we want to rush Sun Song, I think, or not Sun Song. Shoot the
Shoot
sun.
the sun. Yeah,
Rush Scarecrow Song.
I agree.
Rather.
I agree. See, now I'm really curious about the desert song, because if you get Serenade after crossing, that makes rectifying the fact that you don't have Child Scarecrow set way easier, because you can just warp to Temple, go Child, warp to the lake, set Scarecrow, warp back Adult, and then warp back to the lake.
Yeah, having Serenade would actually be very good right now.
But now, from Sly's perspective, yeah, okay. Yeah, you can just... I always forget you can just kind of kill yourself at the bottom of the valley and just go back up, and that, you know, saves the whole trouble of, oh, I need to jump down.
I like this strat too, getting the multiple damage hits.
Yeah, for sure. So I was gonna say, without Serenade, I think it's really... I feel like the bringing in the Din's Fire now is doable for Sly, but kind of awkward. He's already done all of field, so you're kind of just... You're rushing the Dins, but you don't have the warp songs to make that rush feel better. So you're like just rushing straight to the check without warping there, and you're not compensating by doing checks on the way because you've already done the checks on the way.
Yeah, I think Sly definitely crosses here in hopes for Serenade, because even if you don't get Serenade, there's still a chance that you might get, you know, Minuet. Which would also be pretty helpful. It would be better than Bolero since he hasn't done Forest yet.
Yeah, for sure.
But that Serenade would make a huge difference.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Minuet would be nice, but he still needs to either go back to Grown City or find another bow.
Oh, that's right, he does not have that bow yet.
So that could be kind of tricky.
So I guess in Sly's mind, without having the bow, then the shadow play seems way better. So I think he might even be more thinking about crossing and hoping for Serenade.
Yeah, I think that's probably ideal in this scenario. If you get that Serenade, you can at least say you're in Shadow Temple within the next, like, 5 minutes, probably. And Shadow's a pretty dense dungeon. It's pretty good.
Needs the bow to shoot the sun, though. That is true.
Oh damn!
It's true.
I think that's like, I think that's probably the one requirement for shooting the sun. But
yeah.
at least I forget every time. I feel like
Need that in a long shot.
Yeah, I feel like it's more than just me. But I feel like at least I forget it every time, because it's usually in those seeds where you don't have a bow, you get all of your other items, you're just looking for a bow, you finish Water Temple, and you're like, I'm gonna shoot the sun, and you run up to the pedestal, and you don't pull out a bow because you don't have one, and it's like 2 hours. But you almost always have a bow earlier, so...
So you're just standing there staring at the sun, thinking about your life.
Yeah, the bow is just like... The bow is the item equivalent of ZL, I think. You assume you get it early, and then when you
just
don't...
expect to have it by that point.
Yeah, it just kind of hurts. So
in that case, we're gonna see GTG here, it looks like.
that's interesting. I can't say I agree with it too much. Without Strength 2, that's 4 checks. Without Bow, that's 4 checks. Without Song of Time, you don't get the same strength from rushing the right side as you would.
Yeah, it's not the strongest play, but without that bow, which opens up 2 entire dungeons for you,
Yeah, your
What
options
other
are somewhat
options?
limited.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah, I get that. The bow is kind of critical here for sure.
Yeah, so I think with that, Emo is probably in a much better place at the moment.
The fortress too. The fortress, yeah, the fortress was, or the fortress rooftop chest was dead. So we are gonna see horseback archery be way the hero. So that's another bow thing that needs to be done at some point. Iron boots.
I was gonna say,
That's
finally we get something from this forest temple.
so. Plus side, they're not out of the way because you have to do forest anyway. But the downside is, at least from Sly's perspective, that's just more. That's just another dungeon that Soda can do. That's just like it's all just stacking up, because now you can just do Water Temple and get your dins on the way out without having to set up Scarecrow.
And not only that, it's gonna work out because Emo's gonna head towards, you know, Valley and Fortress now and is also gonna pick up those hovers. So
Yep.
then after Water, they'll be able to just go straight to Shadow.
Yep.
And they'll be able to pick up the HBA Way, the hero.
Which is, at this point, Hammer, Mirror Shield, Strength 2, or something wacky. So
Any
yeah,
of
this
which
is looking.
will open up another dungeon.
Yep, this is looking really good for Soda right now. Really, really good for Soda.
Yeah, Sly's really hoping to find another bow somewhere. Or at least to go back to Goron City.
And I would say the biggest issue for Sly right now is, as much as you don't have much else to do, there's so many, because you've got those 4 checks in GTG that are all bow locked, and because of GTG key logic, your odds of finding a bow in here, especially in the maze, aren't too high.
Yeah.
They're not 0, but your odds are definitely lower than a number of other checks. So does kind of raise the question is, if you're Sly here, where do you go next? Like,
That is what I was just about to ask.
you've got Forest and Fire that you can dip into, see how far you can get. You can still cross the desert, which I think is I think that's the correct play right now.
Yeah,
And then
more than
figure
likely we'll see the cross. I think if it were me, I would probably want to dip into Fire because I have Bolero, and then after that go back to Goron City, hopefully in Sly's case to find that bow. I'm really not that keen on dipping Forest without a bow unless it's Wath.
It is definitely worse right now. I think it's okay if you can just do the courtyard, but they don't have Song of Time, so they.
Yeah, that was the other thing. You would.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's not a great forest.
Unless there were. I didn't catch where the keys were in the Forest Temple, but if there's at least one in the first 2, you can go up into the block room.
And recoil.
Recoil down.
Well, at this point he has hover, so he could just hover over.
Also true. But yeah, if there's a key, you can at least get into the courtyard, but that's kind of a Hail Mary at that point. I don't think you expect to find much there.
Also, strength 2!
Okay, that's interesting.
Huh.
So that's not...
Ooh. So Sly's definitely gonna cross now and dip into Spirit. No question.
Yeah, that's definitely... It's good for Sly in a way, because it's more stuff to do.
I also feel like more than likely Emo is probably gonna end up not doing GTG, because with emosoda doing Water now, we're probably gonna do water, get Dins, and then hit up Valley and Fortress.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have Shadow. Like what else do you have? You're gonna get another way of the hero, which is probably going to lead to fire. Or I guess it could be Mirror Shield too. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have other things to do. I wouldn't be too keen on thinking about GTG at that point.
Yeah, it's not the worst for Soda though, because at the end of the day, GTG's a very nice side dungeon to go into when you're
it's
running out of things to do. Especially when you have everything else that you need to do it. But yeah, I can see them at least putting it off for a while here, especially if the horseback archery is like the hammer or something.
Yeah, I think the item on HBA is going to be a big tell on what's going to happen, because if it is the hammer, I think GTG gets put off. If it's Mirror Shield, then I think you do GTG in hopes that you'll get a strength too. Like on your way to Spirit. You would still do Shadow and stuff first, but you would probably do GTG before going into Spirit.
Yeah, I think either way, I think GTG will get put off, but I think it might change depending on the item.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think if it's hammer, you end up doing. You do Shadow Temple, you do Fire Temple, and then honestly, you may even end up doing Ganons before you go into GTG. That's not like 100%, but like it's there.
It is there. I think I would probably do GTG before
I would,
Ganons.
Without Strength 3, I think GTG is probably better for sure.
Yeah. Especially if Strength 3 ends up being in Spirit. Because then you're sitting there, you only have the 2 strengths regardless.
But I think then the problem arises is one reason you might want to do something like Ganon's out of the way is you're kind of maximizing the like dense areas that you're doing with checks that might have your like strength 2 or your last item, in this case I guess Mirror Shield, or even like a Feroz, that just mean when you finally get around to crossing the desert, it's that bit nicer because you can either do Spirit while you're there or you can set Feroz. Well, I think GTG is, as far as checks go, is definitely better than Ganon's, but I can see doing Ganon's first just because of how like one way going to the desert seems to be in this seed.
Yeah, at this point there's a pretty slim chance that we're looking at AD. We don't know yet, of course. We're gonna actually find out pretty soon, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably gonna have
least,
to be keys at this point.
Yeah, like we don't have Rudos, we don't have Boomerang. We're really not thinking about Jabu at the moment. So with Requiem being as far away as it is in this seed, yeah, the going here is pretty much going to be a one-time thing. So you're really hoping that you have Mirror Shield before you come here.
All
But
things
how
considered.
how often do we see Mirror Shield right outside or inside of Spirit, though?
I'd say it happens enough. To be honest, it happens enough for sure. There's Mirror and Spirit, like it's definitely enough that you clear even without Mirror Shield just in case.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't expect it, but you know, the possibility's there. It's probably more likely to be in Shadow if it's not the item that's on horseback archery.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Shadow too, wondering about that. I feel like it's gonna be Baron, because it's Medallion.
The real question, or not the real, a question.
The real question.
Every question is the real question. A question is, if something that I guess hasn't been thought of or talked about is if it's not mirror or hammer, if it's the letter on horseback archery,
Ooh.
because that obviously points towards AD.
Yes.
But as we all know, Requiem is not the kindest of OOT songs, because half the time which is every time you go for it, it's just for keys, and every time you don't go for it, it's hard required.
Yes.
And we will get a little bit of a hint on that with Sly doing Spirit now, as to whether it will be, well, potentially whether it's hard required or not. But it then goes to show, I think, brings into question, if you were Soda in that situation, do you go for the boomerang on Icy Waters before you go Child and do Jabu, or like by skipping King's Aura, or do you just completely ignore it and assume it's for keys? We've got the boss key on one side of Adult Spirit here.
So that's one less thing to be required on Child side.
But it's also one less check that you can have a small key in.
That's true. But yeah,
I'm not really sure.
going back to your question, I think no matter what in that scenario, if you're getting Rudos, I think you're going to get that boomerang first. I think you're going to go there as adult, you're going to weep skip. The question remains if you're going to do ice or not, which I think most likely they're not going to be doing ice. But I think you grab the boomerang and then you go back and do job.
Blue rupee on the right side.
All right.
It's hard required 80. Right.
All right.
Okay.
So now you're definitely hoping that it's Rudos there.
So now, okay. So this now becomes interesting, because if horseback archery is Ruto's Lair, then that gives Soda, honestly, like basically the perfect setup for doing AD, because you already have the AD item. You just need to dip into GTG, get your strength 2, go across the desert, find out your AD lots, and then go do AD. But the question is whether when he does, when they go and do GTG, or when they go to do the Fortress Way, the hero, whether they do GTG.
That's the biggest question.
Because if they don't, it becomes a little trickier.
I think at that point, you might, because you wanna cross, you wanna see. Okay, so if they're doing HBA, they get Rudos. That's your way of the hero. I would already be like, all right, that's for Requiem. Like it's gotta be. But your emo, you only have 1 strength. You can't go check if it's AD yet. So do you do GTG again, hoping that you get a strength so you can go check, or do you just try to find something else? Like you go do Jabu and Ice Cavern and whatnot. Because you can also look in Ice for your strength 2 as well.
That's true. And yeah, there's no argument to GTG being check dance. It's more just the comparison of having Shadow Temple open and available at this point. And well, I guess you won't have Fire Temple open if the letter's on horseback archery, but at the end of the day, having a progression dungeon open that's as dense as GTG makes doing GTG then and there a little less appealing. But Soda just completely threw everything we were talking about out of the water and just got the dins and went straight to Composer Chest.
Yeah, I did just notice that. Sly is also in Fire.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that after they either get Hammer or Bow locked out of here, that they go check Gourmets. Because they really need that bow. If you're rooting for Sly right now, you really want him to get that bow.
Yeah. Looks like he's... Does he have the keys? I don't think so. It's either he doesn't have the keys or he's just...
He got the boss key. I think he got 1 small key. so I think he's Wolf locked out.
Yep. No, Sly, go in the other direction. Oh, he's catching the boulder up here, the grotto, I think. So
Okay,
when
so
we're not completely out of it here yet. There's still room.
gotta see if where we go after this.
Because while there might be 3 bows, like until we see the other 2, every second that Sly doesn't get that bow is just honestly just more time stacking up for Soda right now.
Yeah.
It's like he's opting for the extra hint.
I'm also looking at Emo. I'm thinking, yeah, it looks like they're doing field into Valley
Okay, that's
and
yeah, that's
Fortress.
fair.
Getting the
fair.
North Grottos.
It's also worth noting with Soda warping to Kakariko after getting the Dins, they're obviously not to know that they're about to get hover boots, so at which point, so it's gonna be a bit rough getting the hover boots after warping away over to Shadow Temple, but you know.
I mean, it's not that hard to get back to Shadow.
Yeah, it's just one of those like, it's not like it's a huge issue, it's more just like one of those like cheeky little taps on the shoulder. I was gonna say kick in the teeth, but it's not severe enough to be a kick in the teeth, so it's just like, it's like someone it's like your friend playfully punching you on the shoulder, like, hey, isn't this funny? And you're like, no, not really. It's okay.
Alright, also good news, Sly is getting the bow.
Good to see.
Yes, very good to see.
I imagine we'll see him probably do Forest Temple after this.
Yeah, I imagine you'd go straight to Forest first.
Especially when you're in the area at this point. There you go, there's the boat.
I imagine he's probably feeling kind of behind. So yeah, I would definitely push Forest, push progression. Gonna get the Iron Boots, probably will do Water after.
Yeah, this is probably gonna feel pretty rough on Sly's ends. Like you were saying, if you find the bow somewhere like that at an hour 20 after you found a bomb bag in the same area, it's gonna feel a bit rough. Like you have to assume that your opponents probably picked it up when they were there in the first place.
Yeah. And
then when you get to the end of Forest Temple, you're gonna find Iron Boots, and that's just another dungeon that you need to do.
And you feel even worse. You're like, oh no, it's the whole chain was behind this bow that I put off for so long.
Yeah, at that point, you're probably just gonna expect to like find something else off Morpho when you get there.
Exactly. Well, you know water is barren, but you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know you can get the Shoot the Sun now.
Yeah,
you'll be able to just beat water.
I guess the Dins counts for that, right? Like,
yeah.
you don't get anything from the dungeon itself, but the dungeon sets up one of your items that you need, and you already have the hover boots and the iron and everything else, so you're going to be able to go into Shadow straight after.
Yeah, the only thing Sly has right now is just knowing that it's AD. But Emo is probably going to figure that out pretty soon, especially if this item here ends up being Rudo's.
Yeah, for sure. It's a hammer.
Okay.
So we're on a hunt for Tuzzler, I guess.
So Emo doesn't know yet that it's AD. Like hard AD. And is not going to be able to find out until they get a strength 2.
Yeah, so I think at least. Oh.
Aww,
going Valley. I think this is that's every way the hero covered. There might be something in the Valley Hammer Rocks as well as the hover boots. It is hard AD. Spirit's got Adult Spirit has a boss key, and I think it was 5 rupees.
No small key to continue.
Yep. So, I think in Soda Shoes, as we were discussing, because it was a hammer, you do these checks here and get the hover boots. You go to Shadow Temple and then you go to Fire Temple.
Yeah, I think that's probably the plan.
So that's just...
I mean, it really is just Shadow or Fire, but Shadow, you know, you're most likely gonna have to full clear anyway. So I think you would probably do Shadow before Fire.
Yeah, I think also because Shadow has like arguably more chance of having an item, you're probably gonna, I guess, hope something's in there, and then if you don't find any of your last couple of items in there, you're then going into Fire like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And then if you don't find anything in Fire, you're like, okay, right, now I need to think about things, and answer probably lies in GTG at that point. But with Storms, you have Bomb the Well on the table. That's an option that hasn't been talked about.
Yeah, that's been an option since very early too. We've had ZL, we've had Storms, and we've had Bombs, all very early.
At that point, do you start to think about whether maybe going Bomb the Well just out of risk of your opponent already doing it much earlier in the seed? Or do you try and put it off and do like your GTG first, just hoping that because Bomb the Well was so early, but so were so many items as soon as you came adult, that it's probably not being done yet, which is the case. They both got a bunch of items and just stayed adult so far.
I think from either of their perspectives, it might be different, because from Sly's perspective, I imagine they're thinking that, you know, all of this, especially when he gets the iron boots, he's gonna be like, oh, all this progression is here. Probably is going to figure that Emo hasn't done the well, but Emo, who has done all of this progression at this point, is probably wondering if Sly has bothered dipping the well yet.
I think that's a reasonable view on it, for sure. If you sit there doing all of your dungeons, you start thinking about, okay, well, has my opponent done the same things? I think most of the items were fairly en route. I think it's, to be honest, it might be fair to assume that Soda might think that Sly hasn't done the well, just because of where the items were placed. It might just be assumed that Sly's had the bow for a while and has just been doing the same stuff, because it all just kind of led into each other.
Yeah, when you're in a 1v1 too, I feel like you're always assuming that you're behind. But at the same time, like, Sly obviously is not feeling too hot about the bow, but emosoda, on the other hand, hasn't really made any too big of, like, routing mistakes or anything.
There's been a couple of things that have cost, like, small amounts of time, I'd say, but nothing major. Like, there hasn't been like an area that's been done that's like out of the way that hasn't given an item. Like, the only stuff that hasn't really turned anything useful up are like Kakariko, which everyone does.
Yeah.
The trail, which everyone does. Like, at the end of the day, you gotta feel pretty reasonable about the current position. Like, hour and a half, 3 medallions, starting the 4th.
You have the 5th lined up.
You have the 5th. Yeah, like...
Again, Sly just has the information now, knowing that it's AD, knowing that they do need to find the Rudos somewhere. Right now, Emo's just looking for that strength too.
So, if you're Sly, you know you need to do AD. You probably feel like you're behind because of the bow. Where would you hope for the letter to be, do you think? Because you kind of want it, based on the rest of the seed, if it's like in the path, I feel like you feel like it's just kind of over at that point, right? you kind of want it somewhere out of the way. But then the question is, when do you, like, what out of the way stuff do you check? When do you start taking that risk? Do you just keep on the path and then just like pray you have to do stuff afterwards? Because that kind of feels a bit of a lose-lose situation.
I mean, I know in Emo's case it's just going to be doing prog and then it's pick a location and hope you find your strength too. For Sly having that information and knowing, like, I would definitely be considering the well. I think the well would be a very viable place for Rudos to be. But at the same time, I have this very strong inkling that Deep Fire is going to play a role in this. Because there was a very early Fire BK. So I have to wonder, with all these other places open, again, like you can, well, you're probably not going to move skip, obviously, for Rudos, but like, Ice Cavern, GTG, like, you have all these other places open, do you go back into Fire?
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely my least favorite. Like, my least favorite location in the game for sure is Deep Fire after an early boss key. Because, like, my favorite boss key is somewhere near the end where you're like, okay, at least I had to do it all.
Exactly.
When the decision's taken out of your hands, that's great. Sly being close to 20 skulls, that is, yeah, that could be a big one. Soda's collected a fair few skulls, but I don't think he's gone too crazy. So that could be, yeah, that's kind of hard to say. 20 skulls is always a reasonable bet for kind of an awkward check, because it's one thing to collect 20 skulls, and then it's another thing to say, okay, I've collected 20 skulls, and I'm also going to Kakariko to check it.
Yeah. I'm definitely a victim of collecting 20 skulls and then still not getting the reward until well past 3 hours.
I mean, it's like, because you get so much of Kakariko done early, especially like in a seed like this where you have literally, you've done Kakartri, you've done the grotto, all that's left is the skulls. And then it's like, well, I could go there for one check, or I could go to GTG and then bottom of the well, or bottom of the well is in Kak, but whatever, pretend I didn't say that one for now. Like, I could go to all of these places with several checks, instead of just going to walk here for this one check. And I suppose with Fire on the table, it's not too bad, because you can get the Burning Kak in. Oh, Burning Kak song, sorry. Well, I don't know
that's also true too. There's a couple different reasons why you would end up in CAC again, at least for these two runners. Because Sly could also be considering the well, knowing that they're going to have to do Jabu at whatever point. So I imagine that when they're going Child, they will probably consider dipping the well.
Yeah, I think that sounds like probably the right approach for it. Picking up 20, getting it while you're going into the wall.
Exactly.
In Soda's case, they just got 14 skulls. So if they really tried, they could get 20 before finishing Fire, but it's more likely to be having somewhere in the 15 to 20 mark, and then, oh, I'm going to the well, I'll make it nighttime, pick up the rest, and then go into the well after I've handed in 20.
Has Emo done Nightcat skulls? I'm pretty sure Sly did. Sly went there to drop off.
So does not
mask.
know.
Okay. So that's also something to consider too. But at this point, if you're Emo, I really don't think you're thinking about Child right now.
Oh, for sure. I think that's a fair way off. You've got half of Shadow left. You've got Fire Temple. You'll have Song of Time from finishing Fire Temple, so GTG becomes even better to do.
That is also a good point. That Song of Time could do something.
I feel like the Song of Time, for me, is probably what skews me from... like, personally, I'd be tempted to dip Ganon's for half, because only half the checks are locked by.
There's a Rudos.
Oh, okay.
Rudos and Shadow.
Okay, there we go.
So
Shadow Temple had an item. Crazy.
interesting.
So that's not gonna come into play for a bit for Soda at least. Without the knowledge of AD, I can't imagine they'll be heading anywhere near that until they have to.
I mean, at this point, there's also a chance that Emo and Weep skips. Not yet knowing that it's AD, but knowing that the Rudos is available and that Ice and Fountain is available.
I don't think.
Like, definitely not a priority, but something being considered.
Yeah, I don't think it's too high up on the list, at least until you know that it's AD. When you know it's AD, it becomes more palatable, I'd guess, because you know that Icy Waters is Boomerang, so you're going to want to skip and get that before you go Child to hand it in. And then it's a question of whether you do Icy or not. But you're talking 5 checks in 6 checks? 6 checks. You're talking 6 checks between Ice Cavern and the Fountain that you don't know, that could have the Mirror Shield. Which is, like, fine, but I think there's definitely much better other plays. Like, you do DGG first, you get the Strength 2, you find out it's AD, and then it becomes, like, something you want to do. Because you're probably finding out it's AD before you try and go Child for Bottom of the Well. And if you're going Child for Bottom of the Well, then that's when you're like, okay, yeah, I want to get the Boomerang before I go, just to be thorough.
Yeah, just to be able to take care of that when you're Child. I think something spicy to think about too is where Strength 3 might be, because there's a chance that Strength 3 could just be on Bongo.
Yeah, that's totally possible.
Omega bailed out of GTG.
Yeah, we are in fact an hour and a half in. I'd say it's been a pretty fast seed. Usually, like, you get so many items early doors, and it's like a bait a lot of the time, I feel, because you get all of your items by like an hour, and then you spend like an hour and a half to 2 hours looking for the last item. But it's not...
I think these settings are good for that type of scenario to pop up.
I also feel like I think there's been a couple of ADs so far. I've not watched too many of the league seeds. I've watched, I'd say, a handful here and there. But I've heard a fair few people talking about different ones that have been watched. The general idea that I'm getting for even the seeds that are AD, a lot of the AD seeds are still quite quick. At least currently, it depends entirely on where the Mirror Shield is, but this seed still feels quite quick. Like, we're still probably looking at sub-3s for this, unless the Mirror Shield's awful, or something goes catastrophically wrong.
We would have to see, like, a really awful chain of events, like Strength 3 locking something that locks Mirror.
It'd be like, it'd probably be Strength 3 locking Mirror, and then the third Strength just being in some awful place.
Yeah.
Like chickens.
I don't think we've seen either runner do chickens.
We have not. Sly only went there at nighttime. And Soda's not been to Kakariko at all as Child yet. Every check that Soda opens right now, I'm expecting to see the Mirror Shield and just being like, never mind.
Never mind, we're done.
Like, gets the Mirror Shield, goes into GTG, gets Strength 2, finds out it's AD, goes and does AD. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Now, my prediction is that Mirror Shield is just gonna be in Spirit.
I think that's like, it's Spirit or Well at this point, I think, for sure. They're like the two dense places that haven't been touched, really.
Yeah.
I think Spirit, yeah, Spirit would be very apt for this seed though. Being in Spirit Temple.
Yeah, I think so too. It'd be on brand.
I think, to be honest, I almost like hope that it is in Spirit Temple. Just because I like the idea that the seed has like an identity to itself. Like everything's on the way. Just, you know, just kind of, you start out, you do the usual kind of opening stuff, and then you use the items that you got through that to do your progression and your way to heroes, which then give you the rest of the stuff you need to do. And the most out of the way thing is like strength 2 in GTG, like...
Which is almost on the path.
Yeah, it's just like... It's like you're... It's on the path if you count on the path as, oh, you just stopped for a tea break with the Gerudos or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like...
Just hanging out, teaching you how to be strong, it's fine.
Like, as much as I don't like to read into the seed thing where, or like with like people's seeds and how they roll them, or like seeds being like, this is an awful seed, this is a super simple seed. I just like the idea in my head that the seed is just, you're on rails, go.
Go. Good luck, have fun.
I think it would be a nice first seed for the group. As far as I'm aware, this is the first seed, the first race of this division. It'd be a very apt way to start the division off by just like the seed just kind of pushing both runners on the back forwards and being like, there you go, off you go, on the journey.
I can show you the door, but you gotta walk through.
Oh. It's got that like child's first adventure kind of vibe to it.
A child's first adventure.
I was thinking like Pokemon, but I didn't want to like explicitly say Pokemon.
We're 10 years old, ready to go save the world. But yeah, this has seemed like a very generous seed.
To be fair, I feel like I don't feel like we helped. I feel like every time that something pops up, like a Way the Hero slingshot or something that could be silly. Oh, FCS and Cloud Ike raced earlier today. That's interesting. That's information. So, okay, so it would be a nice second seed to just be like, okay, on your way.
Well, I mean, we don't know if that seed was a gentle walk in the park or a tragic trembling through fire.
Or just like a blender of shit. Just awfulness.
Blender of shit. Just throw all the logic in the blender, turn it on, and see what happens.
I mean, that's the impression I got of from the OOT generator. Like, that's what I thought the seed generator did. It just kind of threw everything into a blender and went, here you go. But
I mean, that is definitely a way of putting it, I think.
We're gonna see 20 skulls here. This is the bailout Hail Mary right now, I think. We're gonna see 10. Have we seen 10? Soda did.
Yeah, we saw 10. We saw 10
Soda
from
did.
Nemo.
Sure. Okay, so 20 is nothing, unfortunately. But you know, there's still room for the seed to get awful.
There is. We have yet to find that mirror shield.
It's definitely not over until the seed gives up, I guess.
It's not over until the bad pig gets stabbed in the face.
True. Not over until the Zelda gasps. That's
Yes.
the other one I think of a lot from the Ganon fight.
So, Emo finishing up Shadow in fire now. We know that the boss key is going to be early. You're going to have to beat Volve if you want to go any further into Fire Temple. Are you going to go back in?
That is the question that's, to be honest, at the forefront at this stage, I'd say. I mean, even with Bolero, if you leave Fire Temple now, you're probably gonna leave it for a while. Like,
Yeah, like this is probably going to be a last location if you leave.
I wouldn't. I think there's just enough in it to say that you probably don't quite last location it, but I think if you don't clear it now, you definitely are kind of committing to the idea that your Fire Temple is not required. So you do almost definitely try and put it off as much as you can, for sure.
Yeah. There are just way better locations that are available to you.
Especially in Soda's case, with GTG.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, Sly is heading back to Fortress to go get the... what was it? The hammer.
The hammer from Horseback Archery, yeah. Be interesting to see if he goes for the bow checks as well in GTG, or if he just leaves.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. If you just leave, go straight for water most likely, and then fire after.
I think leaving it behind is okay, because you're going to have 2 dungeons that you can do. 3, because you're going to get the dins from Shoot the Sun.
Yeah, and he's probably still feeling fairly behind because of the bow anyway. So I imagine he's definitely pushing progression hard right now.
Yeah, and you've also already found strength in GTG, so while it can obviously have more items, you've got to look at it and assume odds are going back in for those 4 checks are probably not going to pay off for now.
Not nearly as much compared to all of the dungeons that you have open. With that being said, Sly did dip fire already and does at least have the boss key.
That is true, and by doing Water Temple and getting Dins, we'll be able to go into Shadow, find the Router's Letter, and Sly does know that it's all dungeons. So, if Soda doesn't... It's hard to say if Soda doesn't hurry, then they could be in a spot of trouble, because I think the time window is quite generous here. I think there's a lot of time that Sly has to make up right now. So Soda's going to be sweating, but...
Yeah, absolutely. Like, basically... Yeah, because Sly still has a lot of catching up to do for where Emo's at. And Emo's almost at the point now where it's just time. All the time now that Emo's spending looking for the mirror shield is time that Sly has to catch back up.
Yeah, for sure.
But it could be as easy as literally the next check, or it could be somewhere really awful.
Yep. And Sly's checking the bow checks. At least the first 2 I can understand. The second 2 might be a bit harder to sell because you have to go all the way to the back. But
Yeah.
I think in the interest of being thorough, might be worth
I'm
it.
okay with this. I'm okay with another maze dip after finding more keys.
With 5 keys, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's almost 2 different clocks ticking in this seed, I'd say. It feels like there's a clock ticking on Sly because Soda being ahead. Oh, there's the second bow.
Wow. That hurts.
That's unfortunate because Sly had 2 keys. Sly had 2 keys.
That hurts so much. I am in physical pain because of that.
I don't believe Soda's on 20. I think Soda's on about 15
Yeah,
The last I saw
checked,
was
it was
14.
and I haven't seen them pick up many more schools since then.
The last I saw was 14 early doors in Shadow, so I think it's probably 15, but could still be 14.
That bow really
Yeah.
sucks.
That bow is unfortunate, especially when it is that you could have just got it earlier. Like, you were here much earlier. You had 2 keys. It would have been out of logic, but who cares? You take those.
Who cares?
Like,
You got a bow. You
Yeah.
got a bow. Now you can go clear your fortress, Wath. And get your hammer. You could have done fire much earlier.
Looks like. Did Soda grab a?
Yeah, we got a
Soda grabbed a
fairy.
fairy. We're okay. We're okay here. Yeah. It feels like there is a clock ticking from Soda's side because of how. It feels like GTG seems like the obvious choice, right? After doing fire, so you'd expect Soda heads there, gets strength 2, finds out it's AD, goes and does AD, and then you're really thinking there's like a clock here of, well, there's only a matter of time until they find the mirror shield and then it's probably over. But the flip side is if Soda doesn't go straight to GTG after this, there is a possibility that everything kind of gets put off, and then that's time for Sly to catch up, who already has the information. And then it could be the other way around. There could be a clock ticking in Soda's against Soda at that point.
I mean, even without knowing that it's hard AD yet, and you have Rudos and you don't have strength, I think at that point you just commit to AD. Because if nothing else, you get Requiem and you can do the child
Do
parts
child
of Spirit.
side. Yeah, I suppose so. It could, in the end, it could just be wishful thinking. Yeah, rough for Vajia from Soda's side.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to get the restart.
But it happens. These are the things you're hoping for from Sly's side at this point, I guess.
Yeah, if you're rooting for Sly, you're pretty happy about this. Personally, I hate Fire Temple, so I feel this.
Oh yeah, I think I've got like a love-hate with Fire Temple. I go through it. Sometimes I'm like, I'm totally fine with this place. Sometimes it just completely ruins everything, and I hate it. But
That's what it is most of the time. Most of the
Yeah.
time, that's what it is. There's never an experience where my Fire Temple is good unless it's Baron Fire with the boss key right next to it. That's the best fire experience you can get.
I won't disagree with that, to be fair. I think that the 2-minute touch Fire Temple and leave is probably the best Fire Temple for sure.
The same can be said about Water too, though.
Yeah,
Baron Water with an early boss key.
I feel like that's the case with pretty much any dungeon if it was available. Like, if any of the dungeons you were able to walk into, get the boss key, kill the boss, and leave and never think about it, you'd probably prefer that over doing the dungeon.
Yeah, most times.
Most times. I'm a bit partial to Water Temple, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why, but Rang in Light Trial. Rang is on Icy Water's color, so...
Oh, we can have Strength 3 on Baronade and then Mirror and Light Trial.
Yeah, we could still see some Light Trial shenanigans. We are gonna see them go into Jabu. It's confirmed all dungeons for Requiem because Adult Side doesn't have any small keys. So unfortunately, there's nothing too wacky we can do with Jabu in this seed.
We got AD, so...
They're gonna find out one way or another that they have to do it. At which point, when it's on the way, I mean, if it's on the way, it's on brand for this seed, so I ship it.
You ship it. Alright, so Volve is finally down. What are we gonna do next?
I
Grabbing
wanna
the key,
say
obviously. No, the not key. It's
bomb
not a key?
juice. Oh, the
Wait.
hammer loop had a key.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Spirit adult side was a boss key and then some rupees. So no climbing up yet, unfortunately. I'd expect to see a prelude here from Soda to pick up the Song of Time. And then into probably GTG. There we go,
But
that's
I
the
would
prelude.
have to suspect, yeah.
As, like, tempting as
Other
I
than
want
that,
to get.
maybe dropping off the letter?
With 2 bottles, I think that's hard to sell at this point.
I mean, yeah.
I could see Ganon's. I can kind of see bottom of the well. Soda hasn't seen AD yet. It was just on Sly's side, so
Yeah.
at the moment, completely in touch GTG on Soda's side. Bottom of the well is very tempting though, for looking for the strength 2.
It looks like we're
Looks
gonna get
like we're
the
seeing the
Ganons
Ganons.
first. Yep.
I understand. Like I mean, I was saying earlier, I can see doing this to kind of maximize the odds that you're only doing 1 trip over to Spirit, or at least not having to do the full walk. Like picking up like a Froze here is like the next best thing after Strength 2 or Mirror.
Yeah, Frors would be really good to find right now. Frors also would have been good to find 2 hours ago.
It's
But
I think
I mean, it would only really be useful for Spirit.
At this point, I don't even think you do that. I think you just leave Froze in Ganon's castle if you find it.
Oh yeah, if you're emo especially, yeah, because you just warp right back in here.
Yeah.
2 hours ago with 156 elapsed. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
should have had
stop.
Frors 5 minutes before the scene started.
Start with Froze. That's
There you go.
what we were saying. We're
Exactly.
100% on this. Yeah, knowing, at least from our perspective, that AD is required, you're gonna get the Requiem anyway, so getting that Froze
True.
so you don't have to fall back is not really an issue. Interesting to see if we see anything in Ganon's though. Wallet? I mean, that's something.
It's not
So-
nothing. It's not nothing.
It's kinda nothing though.
I mean, it doesn't even fill. It's not even a full wallet. You can go buy Blue Fire and melt KZ, even though Domain is barren. It's something you could do.
I would say that this feels like, from a personal view, this feels like insurance for if they end up going to have to do AD. Because if you do Ganon's Castle first, you can get Blue Fire while you're here, which means that when you inevitably have to go and get the Boomerang, you have Blue Fire to melt King Zora on the way, and then you can, at that point, you can say, okay, I'll do Ice Cavern and just mark everything here off the list.
I mean, you also don't need to actually unfreeze him because Domain is barren.
True.
I was just memeing.
True.
But you could unfreeze him anyway,
But you could,
just
yeah,
for the lulz.
Yep. That's true.
There's always a chance that he could have BGS.
You could also just make your Ice Cavern quicker. That's
Yeah.
the
That
other
would be the
option, I
main
guess.
thing. Bring it into ice so you can not have to route it as bad.
I mean, I really wish that the back chest in Ice Cavern wasn't there, because then you could say that it makes it quicker, like de facto, because you wouldn't have to touch the back room, but you kind of still have to touch the back room, so it still kind of sucks.
Yeah.
If I could make one change to the checks in this game, I would make that change. As long as we're having Ganon's Castle like open before the end of the game, so you're able to get blue fire reliably.
Fair. That's fair. We just had Sly got the quick grab, but didn't quite get the quick kill.
Yeah, I was thinking along similar lines, Cola, with the strength in that if you do at least something like Ganon's with 6 checks in it before you head to GTG, you're at least increasing the odds that you find strength 2 before you have to walk past the strength 2 required things. And I can totally understand that. And obviously from like an outside perspective, we already know that the strength like is in GTG, so it's easy to say, oh, you just go GTG. And
I also agree with Yoshi, but Emo also doesn't have the information yet that it's AD. So for Emo, there's still a chance you might not have to do Jabu, but
I can see both sides to the coin, I guess. Obviously, we know the correct order to it in this situation, but you can argue to try and get your strength 2 before heading to Spirit. So you want to do all of the dense areas, especially things like Bottom of the Well, because it's like 12 checks. But then you've got, like the flip side of, if I'm going Child and I might have to do Jabu, I would like the Boomerang, at which point I've already been up to Ice Cannon.
yeah, it looks like that's where emosoda's heading. This looks like an ice play.
This is interesting. It's an ice play. I don't know if it's a nice play.
Well, it's definitely a get the boomerang play, so either way it's going to be required, at least for that.
It's a safe play. It's a safe play because it feels like they're getting the boomerang just to make sure that they have it in case they need to do it. And they're doing checks that are in logic. They're doing some checks that might have the mirror or strength 2. To be fair, there could be a third strength in here, we don't know. And this could still play out good, but it's hard to say until I guess we see what's in the IC. I feel like I've spent way too much time with Shawnee recently because everything I say I'm just seeing like buttons stand out. Like after saying see what's in IC and I'm like I heard C twice and I'm not sure if that's like the fact that it's 4 in the morning or I don't know.
It probably doesn't help.
Yeah, this is definitely a good middle ground of doing more like areas you class as dense. That's
I'm glad that we get to see him weep skip today, though.
I mean,
this is my favorite trick
yeah.
in all the game.
I feel like I'm inclined to agree right now. I do quite like weep skip.
So good.
You did ask if we were going to see it, and I didn't think we would, but here we are. I guess
I
you were
wasn't
right.
sure we were going to either, but knowing that the boomerang is here, it makes a lot of sense. Even without AD, it still would have made sense, I think. Or at least without hard AD.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was very clean.
I know we had with regards to the weep skip, we had some interesting results with that with the testing for these leagues, where I think I can't remember if it was discovered before the first season or before the second one, but I know that at least going into the following season, there was a lot of kind of discussion because it was in that early state where it was like, do you always weep skip? Do you only do it in certain situations? And there were a lot of mixed opinions on it, and I know I at the time was definitely falling on the side of it's almost never a bad thing to do as long as you keep track of it.
Yeah.
Like when it's a bad thing to do, the seed feels pretty obvious telling you that you don't want to go to Ice Cavern. And when it's like not a bad thing to do, as long as you pay attention to what you got there and how far out of logic it is, it can't really bite you like back for doing it, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of the time you'll kind of know if it's a good play or not. Because like if you're in this like the same exact situation that they're in, but you don't have Rudos, you're not thinking about Weep skipping. Like there's not much of a reason to. Having that Rudos at least gives you that information that it could have something that you need. There
So
are
Soda's going
also
child here.
Ooh. Child time. What are we gonna do as child?
So they saved at Ice Cavern, right? They saved and then warped to Temple of Time. So yeah,
yes.
This could be another rough Volvagia.
Yeah.
So at least it evens it out.
I think what happened there was he died to damage, and then as soon as he got back up, he died to the timer.
Ooh.
So
Yeah,
the fairy healed the damage death, but then the
Yeah.
timer just killed him.
That's definitely
Died
a
at
rough
1
one to
second
have.
left. Yeah, that feels bad, man.
I never realized that Soda didn't do child shooting.
Casual 2-hour child shooting.
But you know, this almost makes sense. Like, I feel like if you've basically not done child market at all, you now have bombs, and you've got bombs, you've got magic, you've got everything you could need for the market. So I can see like there's a decent, well, I say decent number, there's like 5 checks here, like, and quite a few of them were accessible fairly early, so
Yeah, we had an early bomb bag, so that also indicates a lot of those checks being early.
yeah, and having prelude from the start does really make it easy to just skip the checks, yeah, for sure. So yeah, if they saved in Ice Cavern, which I think they did, we might see just clearing out Child Market and then resetting back to Ice Cavern. Which
Yeah,
would be
I'm wondering
interesting.
how far into child they go before just resetting back.
It's also possible that Soda saved outside Icy. Okay. It's possible Soda's also
Just not gonna do ice.
yeah, I guess not doing ice. I was gonna say it's possible that maybe putting off GTG because of like the seed kind of pushing you next to GTG so early. Like at risk of obviously this looks like bottom of the well, maybe, or river. It's river.
Yeah,
into
I think this
Jabu.
I think this is Jabu first.
That's
so
interesting.
Jabu into Child Spirit.
I guess at this point,
which is a little bit Monka, because if you're getting Spirit before you know go and dip Spirit, I feel like having Requiem you're pushing GTG back more because you don't have to pass through. You can just warp straight there.
Yeah, so they're at least gonna feel good after doing this blind and then finding out that it's required.
Yes.
But yeah, it does put off GTG even more, and it does make me wonder if they're like, I don't want to say like, I hate the like idea that some runners have where they're like, I'm not gonna do this area because if it's there I've already lost. But I kind of get the idea of like, you feel less inclined to go somewhere that was like accessible earlier over like, if take like bottom of the well and GTG.
Yeah,
If you've got the options, they're like similar amounts. They were both early, like available fairly early, but the well wasn't in your direct path, and GTG kind of was.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like, if anything, I feel like both of them are metagaming out of bottom of the well, where if anything was in bottom of the well, just we're done. Because that I think was the earliest, most check dense area that they could have done much earlier. Where again, I could see them thinking that, oh, if the other one's already done it, then you know I've already lost.
Yeah, that could be it. It would, I guess. We
At
might
least
see Soda do it after Child Spirit, but I think there's no way after doing Jabu that you don't pick up Requiem from OOT and then walk to Spirit Temple, do Child Spirit, and do as much as you can.
Yeah, especially without Strength 2, you're definitely doing Child Spirit. Remembering to grab a fish, always important. If I had a nickel for every time I stood in front of Jabu's face with no fish, I would have quite a few nickels.
If I had a nickel for every time I ran up these stairs with something in a bottle and threw it on the floor, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot.
It's still
but
10
it's weird
cents
that it's
though.
happened more than once.
It's more than 0.
Yo. And at least until Soda was heading to Jabu, I was gonna say the Child Market, and if they'd ended up resetting from Child Market to Ice Cavern, if neither of them paid off, then at that point you'd really have to kind of consider that Sly's actually catching up at that point. But with the Jabu,
yeah, I don't know if I would be sweating yet being emo. I don't know if I'd be that worried yet, because otherwise everything's been going very smoothly. It's just that strength, just the spirit pack that's kind of monka. But you have all of Jabu that you can do. You're about to get Requiem, so things are still looking pretty good. If there's no Strength 3 and no Mirror Shield in Child Spirit, then I think you're gonna start to get that panic. You're like, okay, now it's definitely catching up time. Now I know I'm on a timer.
I think, yeah, like Sly's main strength was the knowledge of AD, right? So at least like, as long as Soda was doing not required stuff, it was like the timer was kind of starting to appear. Like, we've done most of the dungeons now. Sly's started on Shadow. After he's done that, he can get the boomerang and go and do Jabu. But yeah, like Soda doing Jabu blinds, like, I don't know how much of it was I'm gonna gamble on AD, or I'm just gonna play it safe, or like I'm not sure on the exact reasoning behind doing it blind, but it's paying off.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of, this is going to open up a lot for me, and I think not having the Strength 2 is pretty big in this deciding factor too, because Spirit is your last dungeon. The only access you know of right now to get there is through Jabu. So, like, granted, you have those more dense areas like GTG and the well and whatnot, but this is going to at least get you to where you need to be. You'll be able to clear half of it, and there's still a decent chance that you will either find Strength 2 or 3 there. So I think there's a good amount of calculation going into it, but I also think there is just that there's a chance that you might not have to do this. Like, there's a chance you can go to Child Spirit and then not have to do it. At least in
Yeah,
emotion.
for sure.
I think it's a calculated risk.
Yeah, I guess the combination, like you were saying, of Strength 2 and the timing of finding the letter near the end of Shadow, which then obviously put AD for Requiem into Logic, is definitely trickier, and like would explain it for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's giving you a little nudge saying, hey, you probably want to do this.
Can we just talk about how convenient the Icy Waters hint was, by the way? Like, before KZ skip was allowed, like, that boomerang placement was probably one of the worst placements for an item you can get in a game. Because
Yeah.
no one likes to hand in the letter and then find the boomerang locked by the letter in adult side. Like, it's
Ooh,
just
we
so
have to
awkward.
drop off the letter, then go back adult, then go back child and beat Jabu. Woohoo!
Like, it's not as bad now that you can just kind of jump over the fish, so you don't have to go child first. But
yeah.
being hinted about it just makes it like that bit nicer for sure.
See, that's the thing that makes Leap Skip so good, is when there's a hint like that, where Icy Waters, or, you know, on top, or even if Fountain is Wath, if Ice is Wath, those just make Leap Skip so good.
Yeah, for sure. Finding like an
Or
ice
even,
way the hero.
even Jabu Baron, and a way the hero Rudos. Like,
Yeah. Like the ice way the hero is definitely a good sign to Leap Skip, because you go in, you find whatever's way the hero, and you just go, okay, there's a letter somewhere before this.
literally, that's all you gotta do. Whatever I get here is in Logic once I get that letter.
And like with these settings as well, you're already like potentially keeping track of, oh, I needed a hook shot to get what was on Man on Roof. I needed a bow or a slingshot to get everything past a certain point in DC. Like, you have those like extra like small logic quirks that you just need to keep in mind sometimes. That like an extra thing isn't really gonna cause any problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not really seeing too much out of Jabu right now, which is to be expected. It's not exactly a dense location.
Not seeing even those skulls now. Still have to get to 20. We are at 16.
16. So we're probably going to see 18 by the end of Jabu.
And we have Sun Song, so we can also get 19 and then 20 in Fountain.
True.
If they so desire.
That's the letter on Sly's side.
Yeah, so Sly's happy to see that.
Happy and probably a bit sad, because
Oh, yeah.
again, it leads in, it's that like chain of items in the seed where it all started with a bow.
Yeah, so Sly is probably still feeling a bit behind. I don't know. I can't imagine that he thinks that Emo hasn't gotten that strength too. I feel like you would have to assume that your opponent also went into GTG and dipped, especially if they had that bow sooner, which you know they did. Well, at least you assume they did.
Yeah, I think if you're in Sly's shoes, you almost definitely have to assume that you're further behind than you actually are.
If I'm Sly, I might even start thinking, oh, this mirror shield has to be in a really shitty location.
Yeah, I think I'd be feeling that right now. Like, not like it has to be in a shitty location, but like, for my odds to like go up for this race, it needs to be in a shitty place. But you have to be careful, because you never want to like put yourself in a metagaming position where you just do a lot of really bad checks because you feel like it's got to be there. and then it isn't, and you've literally just wasted all your time for nothing, and it was just in a really obvious place instead.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've done several races where I've done so much like janky, awkward checks because I felt like I needed something to be there to make the difference. And then in the end, I've lost those races by like 5 to 10 minutes when it wasn't. And it's like, sometimes you just get if you gamble on those like risky places, it could pay off, but chances are it's not going to. And sometimes the time you spent doing those extra small checks ends up being the difference.
Yeah.
So I think you've really got to be careful with doing metagame choices like that. So I feel like even when you feel like you're this behind, you still kind of have to go for the big locations and the more obvious plays. But maybe like instead of choosing the number one option, you choose the second option instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's very little reason to not expect both runners to just go to Spirit Temple. Obviously,
Yeah,
Soda after this,
Emo's going there
Sly after
next.
Jagu.
Yep. And then after that, assuming that mirror's not there, it becomes just hunt for the mirror shield. Although there really aren't too many places left that it can be. We have Ice and GTG.
The well is a big one.
Yeah, sorry, the well, not GTG.
We have some GTG left, but I think it's just
Like, toilet and...
toilet in the center.
Yeah, I
I
think
wanna
that's all
say.
that's left.
And the back two bow chests as well. Because Sly only did the front
I
two
thought
in the maze, right?
No, Sly got the
Oh,
back
Sly
two,
did
I
do the
thought.
back two. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, I expect
Fire arrows. Thanks, Baronade.
Well, Baronade had an item. Confirmed.
Not Baron. And see, freestanding in GTG was a key if it wasn't toilet is. I'm pretty sure the freestanding was a key, if I remember right.
So you have to expect Soda's probably gonna get Requiem, do Child Spirit, and then if they don't find Strength 2, even if they find Mirror Shield, if they don't find a Strength 2 in Spirit, they're probably gonna do well before going back Adult and then going
Yeah,
GTG.
most likely.
I'd guess.
Yeah, I don't think you would leave the well behind, because at that point you're like, alright, I don't want to have to go back Child ever again in this seed.
Well, I think leaving checks in Child is okay, but I think after Child Spirit, your options are GTG and Bottom of the Well from Soda's View. And if you're choosing between two check dense ones, you may as well choose the quicker one that you're already the right age for, and you don't really want to, like you said, you don't really want to go back Child if you can help it.
Yeah, you want this to be your last Child trip. You want to be able to just go to Spirit and then beat it and be done.
Yeah, I expect... I mean, we could be wrong. We could see something different, but I expect it's probably going to be Child Spirit into Well into GTG.
Yeah, I think that
order.
sounds about right. I think that sounds about right. Meanwhile, Sly, through Shadow, on Bongo, will most likely be heading to Jabu next.
Yeah, I would say...
I can't imagine he has too many checks to do before just rushing that.
Aside from just picking up the boomerang, yeah, I'd agree. I think, to be honest, Sly doesn't feel as far behind, like anywhere near as far behind as he did before, but there's still a whole
Well, at this point,
Jabu.
at this point he beat all of these medallions. He just has Jabu left to get the Requiem. He knows that he just needs that Mirror Shield.
Hmm.
And Emo hasn't finished yet. I think he might be sweating a little bit, but
Yeah.
usually, I think
point...
usually around 2:30 is when I start to like check the race room and see if anyone's finished yet.
I always have the race room open. I can't not, because if I don't have it open, like every 5 to 10 seconds, I'm just like, I need to check the race room. And I hate it because seeing people finish tilts me, so
Yeah.
no winning. But
No winning.
it is still going to be quite some time till Sly actually finishes Jabu though, with no Serenade. You've got to walk up to the fountain, get the boomerang, go back child, walk back up to the fountain.
Alright, here's a question. Do you do ice looking for Serenade?
I don't think it's worth it. With your... So, Sly's already done the river, so the advantage there is he can go to the main via Lost Woods both times. So you can do it now after warping Bolero, and then as a child can save warp to Lost Woods and go through that way as well. And that means you just don't have to do that like long walk through the field up the river.
That's not too bad at least.
So it's not the end of the world.
I think that was skull number 20 for Emo right there.
Yeah, I believe so.
I check race rooms less than an hour in, like, what about now though? Yeah, I'll be in like a really, like an all sanity RSL and look at the timer at like 2 hours. I'm like, okay, no one's done yet.
You know, like in really awful like standard seeds where it's like your first strength or like your first bomb bag is like on draw and spinning pot and everything's locked by your bomb bag, there's no like accessible choose or whatever. It's something like really terrible where you're at like 50 minutes to an hour with no items. Do you not like open the room in seeds like that and just be like, I wonder if this is as bad as I think it is? I'm gonna see if anyone's forfeited yet.
It's like there's only a few outcomes to this. I either Pepega'd really hard, the seed is really bad.
Yo, so welcome to all the raiders.
Yes, welcome.
The hells.
Welcome raiders.
We're 2.5 hours in to a Division 5 race between Soda and Sly. It's been a fairly, I want to say, straightforward seed. A lot of it's been items given to you either way the hero or just kind of on the way. A lot of it's been do one dungeon, it gives you an item for the next dungeon. And it's also AD for Requiem, hard required, because Adult Spirit does not have any keys, which Sly knows. There's the Mirror Shield. There you go.
Okay, so the strength that Emo's missing right now is in GTG, and Sly has gotten that. So Emo really needs to find that strength too, because Sly's about to get the Boomerang, which is at the bottom of Icy Waters, in order to beat Jabu and get Requiem.
Yeah, this is technically a clock for Soda, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's too concerning.
I mean, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, we don't know where the third strength is. You'd have to imagine in this situation, with both Bottom of the Well and GTG untouched, Soda's gonna do Bottom of the Well after Child Spirit, which is only like 5 minutes most, and then probably gonna go to GTG, which is where the other strength is, that Sly has.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Emo's gonna skip the well at this point.
But we do have an end in sight now for Sly.
We do.
Now we know where the Mirror Shield is, so
Yeah, for Sly, all of this is really just about execution. Just beat Jabu, get Requiem, go get your Mirror Shield. Well, get the key, I guess, and then go get your Mirror Shield.
Yeah, I expect it'll be do the 2 child checks, get the key, and then go back in as adult just because it's a bit quicker. Do everything. They might do bottom of the well as well before going adult. Just if they only do the first 2 checks in Spirit, they might do bottom of the well before going adult. In that same idea of like, it's probably the best location left open, and not knowing the mirror shields further in Spirit.
I think having Requiem and getting that key from Child Side, I would want to at least prep Spirit. Like, it's progression, and there's a chance that your Mirror Shield could be in there.
Soda did the river on the way up to Jabu. I think got the scale. I think went into the grotto and got the scale. I remember everything else about the river. I can't 100% say with the grotto up there, but yeah, I
remember Emo
sure
doing Frogs 1.
Yeah, like they stopped for checks in the river. I'm gonna assume they got the scale on the grotto. Yeah, at least we have an end in sight for the seed. Yeah, that's fair. Trying to think. So yeah, with the seed for the people that raided, there was a bomb bag on Link the Goron, DC Way the hero, Kokiri Way the hero had a hook shot, London Ranch had a Ponas, your horseback archery was Hammer, which was Way the hero. Your Valley was Hover Boots, which was Way the hero. Your bow was in Goron City. Your strength was in Deku. So you had all of your forest tools really early, and then you went into Forest Temple. You got your Iron Boots off PG. So that meant you could do Water Temple, which meant after you finish Water Temple, you can shoot the sun for a hint at Din's Fire.
Go do Shadow Temple, get your Rudo's Ladder in the Silver Rupee Redead room.
Yep. And then you can do AD. Honestly, the only item, or the most out-of-the-way item in this seed is Strength 2 in the Wolfos chest in GTG. And you had to go to Gerudo Fortress anyway, so it's barely out of the way.
The thing that had Sly so far behind for a while was putting off the bow in the Goron City maze. After they both went and dipped DC before going into Goron City. So when Sly dipped it, he had Choose, and when Emo dipped it, it was just Strength. They got their bomb bag, but Sly just went back into DC, and then never went back into Goron City until later.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Sly did see Domain Foolish. It was a super early hint.
Yeah. This could just be a case of the forgotten hint.
Domain's probably one that I'd say I forget more often than not. Out of the foolish, like of the foolishes you can forget. Domain's definitely an easy one because whenever you come here and it's not foolish, it definitely feels like something you really want to just get the checks out so you can never think about them again.
And I think he actually no, maybe not. So did you do that diving game? Or did he just do torches?
Just do torches, I think. Yeah, just do torches.
I remembered. He was like, "Oh wait."
Yeah, I think. One of those ones where you do a check, it doesn't have anything, and you're like, "Damn, it didn't have anything," and then you look at like if you keep track of your hints anywhere, you look at your hints and you go, oh yeah, that's why it didn't have anything.
Yeah, so this well play from Emo is also pretty interesting because if there's strength 3 in here, that would be huge. Of course,
yeah.
if this is Baron, then that's really good for Sly.
If
Because
it's
that's more time that he's getting back.
yeah, if there's a strength in here, it's pretty much game over, I think. But yeah, otherwise, any time Soda spends not going into GTG or finding the other strength is, you know, just more time on that clock. Would be, I guess, I kind of want to see strength in here, like less for like whether I want Emo to win or not. It's more just I just want to see where strength 3 is. I'm just curious, and at least from my view, after doing well, I don't see Soda not going to GTG sooner rather than later, which means we're not going to see much more in terms of checks. So I just kind of...
That would mean that the other strength would have to be what, in Ice or Deep Fire? Did we see Deep Fire?
It could be further in Spirit. We didn't see Deep Fire. Neither of them have done more than necessary in Fire Temple.
If it's mirror locked, that would be pretty bad.
Honestly, right now I still feel like it's Soda favored, but it's not too far off. Because you've still got to, I guess, probably reverse to GTG from Spirit Temple.
Yeah.
Which is a couple of minutes. It's when Soda leaves the well and starts doing not GTG that it starts to become interesting, I think.
Yeah. I want to see an Ice play. I know it's probably not the right play, but I want to see it anyway.
It would be interesting. I'm not gonna lie, it would be interesting. I also do kind of hope, for Soda's sake, that this isn't a case of I'm not doing GTG because if it's there I've already lost.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. You do have to wonder though, because you, like, both areas nearby GTG are off. You're already passing by there. Like, you definitely have to consider the fact that the other person has maybe dipped it.
Yeah, for sure. But I think at this stage, at 2 hours 40, you kind of, I don't think you can be like picky like that when you're just looking for one item.
Yeah, I imagine at this point, Emo's probably starting to sweat. Because now it's like, alright, I mean, we don't know it's Baron yet, but we just cleared Baron well. We're looking for strength.
We've not done an area that has probably been touched by the opponent as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of... It's not the best situation you want to be in, to be honest. Especially with such a linear seed, like...
Yeah.
You have to...
Oh look, drawers!
Well, we found Froze.
We found it, guys.
Seed's playable.
Seed's playable. 3 hours and 37 minutes in. Alright, Emo, what do we do next?
Walking out of the well. Is this
chickens? Is this
20
chickens?
Skulls. 20 skulls?
20 skulls. 20
Did
skulls.
they hand in 20? I feel like...
I don't think he handed in 20 yet.
Yeah, I feel like they got 20 before going in, and then didn't hand it in. I guess, like, that happens, though. You know, you rush well because well's so dense, and then you forget to just quickly stop by for 20 skulls.
Save.
Is this save quit? Is this Goron City?
We haven't seen Child Goron City, have we?
We have not.
Okay, so cleaning up more child checks before going adult.
See, this is an interesting one because this is like
I mean,
feel
we
like
could
this-
have another vanilla strength. Just because there wasn't one in the vanilla strength 2 doesn't mean that there's not one in the vanilla strength 1.
True. I feel like there's enough child checks potentially to give like that extra bit of breathing room that makes this a much closer race, even if Soda goes GTG straight after this, or straight after doing child checks, which I don't really know what else there'll be aside from this, and maybe if you're really, really desperate child fishing,
Child fishing, chickens. I think chickens is gonna be last location.
yeah,
I don't know. Do you do chickens before you go adult? Like, do you say I'm gonna full clear child except for chickens, and if it's not chickens, then I just lose?
I think that's better than doing chickens before you do GTG. I'm gonna be honest.
I think that's fair. I think
yeah.
that's fair.
But yeah, it's
Songs are hard, by the way. Just
Songs
a
are hard,
reminder to
yep.
everyone. Songs are impossible.
Soda does not have the scale, so did most of River going up, but didn't stop for the grotto.
Interesting.
Which, to be
That
fair, you
kind of
can
makes
do as
sense,
adult,
though,
so...
because that was just rushing for Requiem, and just, I guess, picked up frogs, because
Yeah.
literally you have to walk by it.
At the end of the day, you have to walk by Frogs 1, it's not too long, and you can't do it as adult, so you can't just leave it for later, really. Without saying that you're orphaning it.
Yeah, because they could also just pick it up at any point as adult.
So this we're getting to a definitely a close situation here for both sides.
Yeah, the distance between them is slowly getting shorter.
That was a bomb bag.
Shoutouts to Vanilla Bomb Bag. Wait, no, not Vanilla Bomb Bag. No, French Vanilla Bomb Bag.
Is it French vanilla?
Yeah, you get one from Hot Rodder.
Sure. I forget the vanilla game these
classic
days.
Trent pot. Alright.
Going adult.
Emo going back adult. Sly has defeated Baronade.
Yeah, DC Hot Roller 2 game.
Yes.
So I expect we're gonna see GTG here, but
Does Sly go straight adult and straight into spirit? Or, well, not straight adult, straight into spirit and then into adult.
yeah, the question here is when Sly goes to Child Spirit, do they stop after the 2 checks? And if they do stop after the 2 checks, do they do well before they go adult?
I would just do the 2 checks and then just go adult. But it looks like we're doing some child stuff first.
Getting OOT, getting the Requiem.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You have to actually get Requiem in order to play it.
Yup. Yep. Songs are hard, but you need to know the song to play it first.
Yes.
I kind of agree with you, but I can kind of see the merit to doing the well when you don't have the mirror shield. Because if you only do the first 2 checks, you're not gonna know that the mirror shield's further up in Spirit Temple.
I mean, I would only... Like, if I were in Sly's shoes, I would not be concerned with the well. I wouldn't even be thinking of the well. I'd be like... I would consider the well after I've already full cleared as much as I could in Spirit. I would
Yeah, I
rather do
guess-
the progression than go well.
I guess with your 3 warp songs, it's like you're losing time to going back child again, but it's not too bad. Like you're warping straight to the temple, you're going back child, you're then warping straight to CAC. Like, yeah, I can. Yeah, you've convinced me. That's it. You've done it. You've convinced me. I'm won over. I think, yeah, totally skip the wall because the punishment, if it's in the well, is not too big.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're still gonna have to clear most of Spirit regardless.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright. Emo has entered GTG. We'll most likely see a full clear before, heading into the maze.
Question is,
Well, not full clear. I guess we'll see up to the Wolfos room.
are we gonna see left side or right side first? Because I agree with right side first, but obviously it won't pay off.
Yep, we're doing right side.
Like, I think this is correct from Soda, but also this
Yeah,
is
when you
what
have Song
Sly
Attack, you
needs.
do right side first.
Yeah, like when you're looking for one item, especially, like it's just way more dense than the left side. But this is the kind of time. It's just these extra small snippets right now that Sly needs just to even it up. So
We're getting close here.
this
I'm
is
starting to sweat a little bit.
this is getting closer than admittedly I thought it was gonna be earlier on in the seed.
Yeah, if you checked back like an hour ago, it was like Emo up by 4 meds.
Yeah, like
Sly still missing a bow.
that bow felt like it was a nail in the coffin, but
It really did.
at this point, like,
Yeah, Sly has clawed back a 3 dungeon lead.
looks like Sly's climbing to outside.
Ooh.
So
Ooh. Ooh. This
Pros
is
and cons.
spicy.
pros and cons.
Pros and
Gonna get
cons.
the
You're gonna
mirror
find your
shield?
mirror shield and then you leave.
Yeah, the pro is you're gonna find your mirror shield, so you're never gonna get baited into the well or anything else.
Yes.
Con is that it's slightly slower. Doing this bit,
Slightly.
but
Because you would probably still do this as adult anyway to check for keys.
yeah. But at the end of the day, it is going to be find 3 keys and go as soon as you're
Yes.
as soon as you're adult, and you already have 1, so it's find 2 keys and go. Which
Also,
is a good
Emo
position
is
to
doing
be
the
in.
extended right side.
I mean, I agree with this. I think this is still correct. If you've got like if you've got the ability to do this area, you just do this area. But with 5 keys, is probably gonna do we might see a dip into the maze before going left side. Which again is, it's more time for Sly.
I know Sly's about to get the mirror.
This is nope, going straight left. This is gonna be close. They're gonna be entering Adult Spirit Temple at a similar time.
Yeah, they're gonna be very, very close. There's the mirror shield, and...
Sly's
Yep, there he goes.
Sly's in the lead here. Sly's gonna enter slightly earlier.
Yeah.
And already has done adult side.
Wait, what's he doing?
Saving.
I think he's panicking. He's like, wait, I'm in go mode. I'm in go mode.
Yeah, that was a start walking. Wait, I'm in go mode. Save quick. Wait, it's quicker to just walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sly's actually in the lead now.
Yeah.
Gonna enter Spirit slightly earlier. Has the 2 checks already squared away.
This is gonna be an execution fight.
Yeah, Soda's just gotta try and win by just gotta try and execute. The flip side, I think the one thing that might work in Soda's favor is they've already done all of child side.
True.
I can't remember exactly. It was on BMOS or Child hand, but
yeah, I don't
either are
think
keys-
Sly's gonna have to do Deeper Childs.
hmm.
I don't remember the hand being a key, and I also don't remember the other room being a key. And he only needs... I guess he needs 2. But you have way more checks on adult side. You're most likely not going to go for those 2 checks, because they're 2 really slow checks. And one of them you can get from adult side anyway.
Yeah, for sure. A bad Rover or Dorf could decide this entirely.
True.
This is scarily close. I don't know how much you've seen Rock Chalk, but if you'd been here like an hour and a half ago, you would not expect this to be this close.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
See, Emo's gonna do the first 2 checks too, and then be like, well, it was hard AD.
Yeah, this is gonna be the I'm glad I just banked on AD moment, but you know, it's a little shaky.
I mean, Sly just needs 1 small key. Look at that in-sync ZL in Spirit Temple. That was beautiful.
In sync, just different ZLs.
Different ZL spots.
I'm trying to estimate in my head, like, how far ahead Sly is right now, but I think it's only like...
Only a few seconds, probably. Less than a minute.
Less than a minute?
Well, actually, no, we still have to push the mirror. Never mind.
I'd say it's like... Probably like...
My concept of time is very poor.
Sly's like a couple minutes ahead, I think. Maybe. I don't know, my concept of time's pretty poor too, I'm not gonna lie. Oof.
Listen, I just found out recently that if you ground jump in Gerudo Fortress,
Whoa,
instead of opening up the gate, it saves like 15 seconds.
So does not even... oh, okay. I was like, damn, Soda's just like no fear, just skipping the ZL chests in the main room, just going straight for the adult side. This is like respectable, like confidence, and then goes straight up to the key door, and I'm like, oh, never mind. But like, yeah, it might pay off because we know there's no keys in there. It's just like it's like an accident that's kind of amazing, I guess. Like,
wild.
This is... Oh my god, this is too close. I can't watch. I have to watch, but I can't watch. Oh my... Sly didn't do that chest?
I was wondering why. Sly went up first.
Okay, so...
So now Emo's ahead.
Now Emo's ahead. And... I mean, I guess, but like... The way Sly's done the routing, I guess, like, you know, they're going like quite thorough, like by doing all of like the lobby checks and stuff. So I would have.
I mean, I guess they know also passing through here that they're gonna have to pass through that room again too.
Yeah, I think though. I think you're wanting to find a key to avoid doing.
Yeah, extra stuff.
If you avoid doing the dark nut, you get to it's the longest thing to do there, even though it's not that long. So if you do this check first, you've got more chance in 3 chests of finding the key before having to fight it. Also, I realized I said Dark Knight instead of Silver Knuckle. I'm sorry. Doesn't help I was playing some Minish Cap today, but you know.
They're basically the same.
Yeah, they're the same, it's fine.
Iron Knuckles got an upgrade. Yeah, so who made the comment? Sean. How much of a difference do you think that BGS is gonna make in the end? It'll definitely make a difference, but like a significant difference or not?
I think the only difference it would make is if Soda messes up. Because it, like, BGS saves time, but the time it saves is
I
like...
don't see either of them messing up the Rova fight, but it's pretty easy to miss the one cycle with Master Sword, so, I mean...
I'm thinking, to be honest, I'm thinking more on the Ganondorf side, like,
yeah.
I feel like, yeah, the Big Sword saves you a little time, but it's not enough to make the difference without the fact that it's harder to one cycle with the Master Sword. So I think it requires the error, but it could make a difference. There is also the Iron Knuckles on the way up the castle as well.
Oh, that is true. I didn't think about that.
But there's also a really nice one cycle strat for those. I say one cycle, but you know, a really nice like quick strat for those with a Master Sword. That's kind of tricky.
Perhaps I'll look into that. It's weird. Sometimes I have an easier time with Master Sword than I do with BGS with Dwarf.
So, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but you basically hit both of them from behind a couple of times, the Knuckles, and then you roll through. You hit them a couple of times, you roll back through.
Yeah.
The positioning and the timing are a little tricky on it. Feels really good if you do it, but yeah, it's like if you mess it up, you just get like hit a bunch and it's awkward. So, but that could play into it slightly. And yeah, Soda has been into the castle, so has already done both the Alphos and the Dinophos and the Stalphos. So
yeah, that'll save a little bit of time. BGS also makes those fights pretty free.
Yeah, this is pretty close. Soda making through Twin Rover without any real errors or issues, which is kind of what you hope for at this point.
Definitely.
So we're
3 seconds is the margin of draw. Interesting.
We're Twin Rover phase 2 apart, basically.
Yep.
Which is, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds? Maybe a little more, if you include the cutscene.
Yeah, I wrote down the time for when Emo got the last hit on Rova, so I'll let you know what that time's looking like.
Sick. I wish I had that foresight.
Okay, so they're literally a minute apart. Exactly 1 minute.
Exactly 1 minute.
Exactly
Damn.
1 minute apart.
Ooh, so that's, yeah, it's close enough that any errors could bring it close enough to a draw, but yeah, it's definitely looking Soda favored right now. It's definitely, yeah, it's looking like hard to say that Sly's gonna manage to like inch out a lead again. But to think it's as crazy as like it's this close, and Soda skipped the lobby, like the foyer statue area in Spirit by accident. Like that in itself, like the couple of chests there is like another like 30 seconds or something. Like maybe not that much, but like there's a lot of like really small details that have brought this as close as it has, which is cool. cool to see.
The thing that's crazy, yeah, is that it's not done yet.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
There's a chance, though not great, that Emo could die here. Yeah,
Have to get
we're
hit
looking
twice,
at 5
but
hearts.
we've seen crazy things happen.
We have
Going
seen
for the
crazy
one
things
side,
happen.
going for it on 5 hearts. That's ballsy. We've seen Knuckles do double hits before. With one of them down. Yeah, this looks
Okay, yeah,
pretty
I
safe.
think we're good.
But that was that was
That
a
was
little
kinda,
close
that
for
was Monka.
comfort. Definitely a lot sweatier than I was like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, my butt got a little clenched there, not gonna lie.
I was. Mirror Shield was in Spirit Temple in the map chest, so slap bang in the
Classic.
middle.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Shawnee's sentiment here. I think I'm glad I stayed up till 5 a.m. for this. This has been really exciting to watch. And also way less tense than I thought it was gonna be, I'm not gonna lie.
So, Emo entering, Dwarf.
By just finishing Knuckles.
Yep. I think they're still about a minute apart.
Yeah, if you look back at this, as Sly, if you look back at this race, just for like things going forward, I guess, I think you have to like just be proud of yourself for coming back after like being so behind with that bow, like getting to this point. Like you've got to just kind of say, you know what?
Incredible comeback.
You just got to say you tried. You're like, oh, you know what? I did my best. We got this far. You know, like.
To bring it back
what
this
more could I
close
do?
in the end, though.
Yeah.
Because this is still probably only going to be about a minute apart. I think it was 58 seconds between walking into the Ganon door.
And we're talking like just over 3 hours for an AD seed.
Yeah.
Where you had to do like, it was fairly linear, but you still had to do like a fair bit on the side. So, you know, pretty reasonable. Like, this is I'd say it's a time to be happy with for sure.
I think,
like this early.
I think aside from the bow on Sly's end, I think both of them played very, very well, and I think they would both be happy with how they played.
Yeah, I think so. There's not really much to fault here at all. Just the bow, unfortunately. And the position of the second bow was just like that little extra.
That really hurt. That was like extra salt in the wound.
Yeah, I don't know if we're looking to see if we can talk to either of the runners after this. I'm certainly interested in a couple of
I'm sure
things.
Yoshi can see if they're interested in an interview. Yes, to get your GGs out for emosoda. We get in that time 3:02:36 probably.
Yeah, 3:02:27.
27. GGs.
GG. Shoutouts to both of the runners as well.
Yep, Sly will be right behind him.
Both done an amazing job.
Yeah, this was an amazing race. The second half especially was Very, very good.
Super interesting. And at times a little bit butt clenching. But
Yes.
if it didn't have
mostly
that, it
those
wouldn't be
iron
fun.
knuckles.
Yup. Those are the seeds that we live for.
That they are. And final hit for Sly.
3:38. So yeah,
3:38.
an hour and 11 seconds apart. Hour? A minute
An
and
hour?
that's the 5 a.m. talking. It's a minute and 11 seconds apart.
What a close race in the end. That was good. That was good. These runners put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly entertained by this race, so they did their job. That's
You
definitely
didn't
what they're
fall
here
asleep.
for. Yup. All in all, yeah, just a really good race. Stuff like this that I think, well, I know personally, but I think we all like to come and both watch races and play them for just those really like nail biting close races at the end.
That's the best part, because we're in it in the beginning and it looks one-sided, and you're kind of like, oh man, this is gonna be a blowout, and then the way that it just turned around and then swept back into being a close race again, where you're like, oh wait, it's not over, it's not over.
Hmm.
And it was really up until like those last seconds.
Yo, GG Sly.
GG Sly. And Emo coming in with the raid.
Clean.
Party of 2. GG's Emo.
I assume we might get emos in soon as well. Yeah, Sly, if you're, I don't know if you're trying to talk or not, but we're not getting any audio at the moment. But yeah, GG's.
There we go.
Hey,
There he is.
how
Even it
did
was
you find that?
default device.
Mm,
Well, I can think of 4 stupid things that cost me the seed. First one, not getting the bow immediately when I got bombs in Goron City.
Yup.
2, not getting the bow when I forgot to clear the rest of GTG on my first dip. I don't know what happened there. 3, um, not save scumming that key in Child's Spirit right after getting the Mirror Shield. And 4, forgetting that I had BK, so not turning around and doing the Mirror Shield check to get the key that I needed. Anyway, those are
Yup.
4
Yeah,
things.
we were
Oh,
wondering why you didn't go for that mirror check.
number 5, doing 1 check in Zora's domain.
Oh, yeah, true. GG emo.
GG Emo.
Yo, what's up?
How did you find that?
Stressful. I mean, like, I was measuring my heart rate the whole time because I was curious and got to about 161 at the very end there. So I was freaking out.
Oof.
Oh, wow.
I just started a new medication though, so that's why. But either way, feel good now. Sorry for the snipe Sly.
It's okay. When I got go mode, I was like, there's very little chance that I get this because I missed 2 bows early on. So it wasn't unexpected.
Yeah, that bow that you missed put Emo in a pretty big lead for a while.
Yeah.
But then you getting the strength 2 in GTG really helped.
Gotcha. So did Emo get the out of logic bow in Goron City or in GTG or what?
The Goron City one.
Yep.
Goron City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was a mistake.
So I would say I think one thing that played a pretty large part in you catching your lead back, catching back up, Sly, after being like about 3 dungeons behind was by going into GTG and then crossing the desert, and you saw it was required AD. So you kind of, after you got your bow, you just went into forest, and then you went into water temple. You just kind of pushed the dungeons, and it just kind of led that dungeon kind of chain.
Yeah.
While Soda was like dungeon, bits and bats here and there, and it just kind of slowly crept back in, I guess.
Gotcha.
But
So
shout outs to the blind AD Soda, by the way.
nice.
I
That
knew it was
was
Wreck, but I mean, I don't
like,
know. I feel like it's not as blind. I knew Sly was probably going to go for AD, so I didn't want to not do it and then lose because of it. So I've lost enough
well,
races because of that. So
mm,
I felt like my lead was big enough. Like I definitely felt ahead
mm,
because everything was just in the route, right? Like I just kept hitting
yeah.
item after item, and I was just like, well, time to do 4 dungeons, I guess. And then I'm looking for 2 items, which is like I really wanted to find Mirror Shield first, so I'm really glad that happened. Otherwise, it's going to be even worse than it was. But I was just trying to nail down like where the second strength could even be, and it pretty much could be anywhere. It's
Mm,
like what my verdict was. So I was like, I might as well be as efficient as possible because that's what I've been doing this whole time. So I
yeah.
wanted to stay child and do the child checks because they don't take very long and it's pretty high density with bomb the well as well. So um, I don't know. I felt like opponent could have just been pointing to G2G the whole time too, though. But like the hard part about that is you got the hammer at HPA, so it's like, do
Mm,
you really want to go back to G2G? And I couldn't really justify it at a lot of the times. I mean, even doing water was a little weird because it was barren, but I felt like just not having to do scarecrow at all. The seed was definitely where I wanted to be. So I was just like, well, might as well do it. If a song of time's required, Sly's probably gonna do the same thing, unless he finds hammer first. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think we were wondering what kind of led to the like, I'm gonna do Jabu and get AD.
mhm.
But that makes a lot of sense when you're putting it through like that, for sure.
2 things as well. One, I knew domain and water were barren, right? So I think it's impossible to have another barren hit on these hint settings. So I just assumed dungeons were good. So I don't know. It turns out I just didn't pick the right ones first. And even in GTG, I was kind of kicking myself afterwards. I was like, I always go left first. And I was like, oh,
Mm,
today I'll go right. I have Song of Time. I'm looking for one item. Like, I think this is better. And just like, no, no, should have just played like normal. I was just like, okay. At that point, I felt like I was going to lose. So seeing that slide wasn't done, going into Ganon's, going into the final fight as well, I was just like trying to keep as calm as possible, but hoping I wasn't going to get screwed by Spirit Key Logic. But I think I
mm,
I
read the
did.
situation correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. With by the time you guys were entering Ganon's, you were a minute apart.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The
so
Yeah.
entire time going up.
The only
We were
thing I would have
sweating.
changed would be like Spirit has like strength 2 and 3, so you have to do
yeah.
AD for it. That's the only way it could have gotten better for me. But finding Mirror Shield kind of put me in panic mode for a little bit too. I was like,
Oh,
well, do I
same.
go back and adult for GTG or do you do the
Mm,
child stuff? And
So
if
you
I
got it.
knew Sly did AD too, like if I really felt like he did, then I kind of have to clean up child checks because I assume that's what he would do as well.
mm,
So you got mirrored as child as well.
Yeah.
That was my go mode, and I stayed child to start doing spirit because I was like, if I don't get it in spirit, the next place I want to go is well for density. So I'm like, I guess I'll
Yeah.
stay child. I might even do it before adult spirit, and then I got it, and I was like, freak out, and then I like didn't save scum my key.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
about that, but I was like, I'll probably get 2 keys along the way. It's not that hard. Like it's pretty unlikely that it's like the very last chests in spirit, like possible even. But like even then, I think one was on child climb, so couldn't have been that bad. The worst thing was just I didn't check the other side of the hand, like the right hand in the main room. So like if that had a
gotcha.
key, but like even then, even if Mirror Shield has it, it's what 30 seconds or something. But
Yeah, lost some time there because I had one key going into like the BMOS not the BMOS room, whatever it is, the Anubis room. And then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to find another one up here. And I was like, the hallway has the the stairway has 2 in it, so I'm gonna go there first. And I was like, crap, do I have the BK? I don't know. Like normally I would turn around and go do the mirror shield check first, but I was like, I don't know if I have BK, so I'm gonna check hands because there's 2 there.
Yeah.
And then I
yeah.
remembered, I was like, oh crap, this is slow.
Like I felt like once I was getting close to go mode, like assuming the race is close at all, which I didn't have that many locations left, so I assumed it had to be. Kind of just try to cut out all those corners where I could that are like reasonable enough. Trying to get my fix because I was playing in an MMR seed the other day. And I was like, fuck, I skipped my go mode, fuck. So I gotta skip check somewhere. I mean, I can't even do it in multi-world, so
So
Yeah,
did you essentially get bow early, do like 3 dungeons, and then wait a bit before going to Fortress, or did you hit up Fortress early and um, get your
I felt
hammer?
like I felt like I should have been punished for this opener because it was kind of whack when you look at it. But what I
Yeah,
did
a little
was
bit.
yeah, we were gonna
yeah.
ask about that, but you talk first.
Go
You
ahead.
talk
Yeah,
first.
go ahead.
Yeah, go grab a stick, just save quit, go get your song. Like I'm really song positive, hint positive on these settings. So it felt like getting the most information possible at the start there was the play. Because I knew I could get money wherever. It didn't matter to go right back to Deku. So I go that way, like around a Lon market. Like the prelude was so huge there and on SFM, but and then once I do Deku, I'm just like, well, I already have all 3 songs. I don't really want to do anything else. I didn't really find anything huge outside of this hookshot, but it's hinted. So I'm like, okay, I got magic and strength out of Deku. Now's the time to go adult. So I go adult, and I know that Kakari Forest, DC, and Lalmon are all the way the hero. So it only tells me that GTG could have something until I got the fort hint. I was like, okay, well, that explains that one. But I knew DC was way the hero, so I just kind of blew by CAC. I did Man on Roof for money, and then bought a shield, went DC, and got. I don't think I got the long shot the first time because it was bomb locked. So
Yeah.
I save quit. I go up to Goron City. I do link to Goron with strength, and I get my bomb bag, and then I get the bow, and then I go get the long shot in DC, lights in graveyard, and then it just kind of go dungeon from there because the Dens and Rang being hinted was so awesome this seed. It really helped with the routing decisions.
Wait, so
Yeah.
how did you stop Link the Goron? You found Chu somewhere?
Well, use strength.
Oh, strength. Duh. Ha. Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
had strength and didn't even think. All right.
Yeah, the Din's hint and the Rang hint for sure were super helpful this seed. Like those were
That Din's
by
hit.
far the most out of the most like awkward things about the seed, in terms of the items, and
No
it
serenade.
telling you them is like, just do your water temple, get your Dins, and then skip over King's Aura to get your boomerang before you go and do Jabu. Like very helpful. Yeah, we were wanting to ask about the skipping over CAC to DC. It was like we kind of assumed the idea was you find explosives in your way of the hero DC, and then it puts you out in front of CAC, so you can just do the rest of CAC. It's like I guess like a more aggressive approach to that area with because of the DC way the hero is kind of.
Yeah.
You have the DC Wath and you have the strength.
Yeah, that's at least how it looked. And we had like another kind of not what's the word? Deviance? No. Yeah, we had some
Deviation.
like
Yeah.
deviation. That's the one. We had some deviation from Sly as well, because you went up the river when you went adult, which I assume was because you had Nocturne, so you could walk the graveyard anyway.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Yeah, and it was nighttime.
yeah, and then you ended up getting a scale into Bolero, so you changed some
Yeah.
nice extra stuff out of that.
That was
but
amazing.
And where was that scale?
the grotto in the river.
Yeah, open grotto.
Oh,
Yup.
it's not. It wouldn't have really mattered for me because I don't like to go there as adult.
Yeah,
Pretty early in the
you
seed.
at that point you were already going upriver. I think you checked frogs, but you just went right past it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to save time because at that point I was like, well, I'm committing to AD. I can get this when I do Ice Cavern or after Ice Cavern, like Fountain. I mean, I don't know. Like, my head was just.
I mean, a difference of a minute at the end of the day. Small things like that matter. So
Exactly.
Yeah, I was really happy with that opener there because I got slingshot right at the end of Child, so I just save quit, got the the claim check on Lost Woods, warped prelude, went adult, went up river because it was nighttime, got scale, went into Sacred Forest Meadow, got Bolero, and then it could immediately turn in my claim check, which got me choose.
I was
Yeah,
wondering
it worked
if
out
you
very
did.
well for you.
got the Bolero.
yeah, if it wasn't for the Bombag on Link the Goron and then like missing out on the bow,
Yeah, that was silly
that could have been like really strong for you at the start as well, for
for
sure.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we were really worried about that bow in the beginning.
Yeah, me too. I was like,
And
okay, well,
seeing
Bo
the
is
one
locking my seed,
Yeah.
so
seeing the one in GTG really hurt too.
yeah, I'm like, okay, I don't have Bo, so I'm out of checks in GTG and completely neglected Center Maze, or heading towards Center Maze. Yeah, silly mistakes, but
But in the end, you still pulled it through to be a minute behind.
Yeah, it's definitely a good performance from both of you. It's like not really much to fault all in all. Even like missing the bow, like catching up after that is like impressive in itself. So
Yeah, the race
We
was
just won't,
definitely really good.
we just won't talk about my Volvagia. It's cool. I don't want to talk about it.
I
Oh, I
I don't
died
think we'll
too.
talk about either of them.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
either of you want to
no.
talk about it.
We could talk about
I
the
missed
Volvagias if you want.
I missed
No,
a hammer smash on Volv like 3 or 4 times,
Oh my
and
god.
I got hit and died. Oh, okay, that's what happened. Yeah, I died from getting timered and then hit immediately, I guess.
No, you got hit
Or other
first and
way.
died,
Okay.
and then when you
Yeah.
revived from the ferry, your timer ran out and you just died
Yeah.
again immediately
In
after.
in literally
I
0
thought that was
second
gonna happen to
timer.
me. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Because it looked like a
Yeah.
boulder hit me on the actual Volv kill. I was like, no way. No way. No. No, no, no. Not another death. Are you serious?
Yeah, GG. I don't think we've got any more questions unless either of you do.
I need to go lie
Nope.
down. Fuck.
GG emo, and thanks for the restream, everyone.
Yeah, GG's both of you.
Thanks
GG's,
for
thanks for
agreeing.
the excellent race.
Yeah.
Amazing.